Okay. Elmer.
I've got ex-driver in. The Chitty Garbage started in this town. They're my rich cousins. And I have always had an affinity for this eastern side of the county. So the people that down in the legislature drew the map in a way, had I had that map to run on in years past, I probably would have been able to keep the job. But I don't actually wear well in West Ames and in the campus town area. So I would like to take the acquired knowledge that I had, which is substantial, bring it back and put it into effect. Because this is nothing new. And strangely enough, as Brenda was coming on 10 years ago, she got introduced to me, and it's just like Rick Sanders, if you remember that supervisor, said, young Mr. Chitty, you're going to take her with you, and you're going to introduce her to everybody that you know, and she can tell her your version of it. But we talked to a lot of East Story County, and I think you have successes in those communities, but I would like to do it for you again.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Anything else for open forum? Anybody else? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
On the minutes for the 14th. The committees. I'm on here for chair of the facilities committee and the government committee, and Ken isn't on for any one of them. And I didn't know if I had written it down wrong or if that's the way it was, and that's the way it's recorded. So,
Wendy, can you help me clarify?
That she's chair for 2 committees?
yes.
Correct.
And why isn't Ken on one?
I didn't vote on this.
Yeah, that was council vote. Is there a committee
one you don't
that
want to
nobody's
be?
on there?
Well, I'd rather not be on the facilities because you've done the parks and the trails and all of that before. So if you would take that over.
I will take it.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to amend the resolution.
Amend the resolution.
So there won't be an actionable item on the consent agenda, but it'll be an item that we can reintroduce as an amendment to the resolution.
Okay.
Wendy, would you put that together again, please? Assume consecutive numbers. Any other concerns?
4C, Ken and Sue were not here for that meeting, so they can go on that one.
Correct. I was not here for B or C.
Probably going to butcher that, just so everybody knows. That was B and C.
B and C.
Alright. Any other concerns over the consent agenda? There is a resolution in there, just to make sure everybody understands that as well.
Yes.
Okay. So, we'll start with A, D, E, F, G, H for the consent agenda. Anybody opposed? No. Move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? Doug?
Yep.
Sue? Ken?
Yeah.
Harry?
Yep.
And Joel?
Yes.
And B and C.
Move to approve.
Harry, Doug?
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Harry?
Yes.
Doug?
Yeah.
And Joel?
Yes.
Alright. On to 19A. We moved 19A up to after 4, and 13 as well will be after 19A.
Got it.
Starting with 19A, Sheriff's Report.
Hello.
Mr. Powers, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I discussed a little bit prior to the meeting about, there's some issues still with speeders on Main Street, it sounds like. Yeah, that was about it. And then town time, which I'll address in my email. Any other concerns from anybody else? Or any other issues?
Fresh Donuts and Black Marks, was it Metcalf? And the Metcalf at the co-op,
Okay.
going down towards the school. probably hitting 60 miles an hour within a couple blocks when they leave the donuts. So,
Specific time range?
evenings, start time.
Last night after, it was probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock last night, it sounded like a racetrack out here,
Okay,
so.
yeah.
Saturday night?
Down a little bit later now, and people are staying out a little later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically what I've heard and seen, so.
Sounds good.
I haven't ventured far from home, it's been cold.
Yeah, so
No report on sidewalk.
You right?
okay. Another wide variety of calls this month. I know we've had a lot of calls at the Dollar General. I don't know that it was discussed last meeting, I wasn't here for last meeting or not, but, we did have a burglary or attempted burglary rather, to the Dollar General. We did have a resolution of that, a juvenile referral was issued within 24 hours of it happening. That happened, I think it was in December, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that, hopefully we should see, a reduction in activity as far as that goes.
That's good.
So, other than that, I don't really have any other news for you guys.
Anybody else have anything for the sheriff? Thank you, Deputy.
All right, have a good night.
You
too.
All right, on to 13. Discussion and possible action on Maxwell's investment policy. Terry, you want to start?
Yeah, I asked to have this added to the agenda. You know, speaking with Wendy, we have, you know, roughly $1 million to be invested and on hand at any time, currently at 1.5, currently earning about 1.25%. I think there's some, you know, other opportunities here to deposit and or invest that money at a greater rate now that overall rates over the last few years have increased markedly, so I think it would be prudent for us to explore those options. We obviously have the folks here from the Maxwell State Bank, and very helpful and appreciative of that. Are the folks from iPay It online? Cam or Paul? Okay.
I only heard one person online.
Okay.
Your battery ain't working.
No.
Wendy, we need another battery.
So with that being said,
Should be light.
so we need to, maintain enough cash on hand for short-term needs and everything else for the policy to be invested at a higher rate. And I think I wanted to put this on the agenda to discuss opportunities, which funds are available to be invested in only in the short term, but what can be invested in the long term. Maxwell State Bank has provided us with some rates and different options that are included in the packet here. So, I just wanted to kind of talk about, our different options there and, at least get something, the thought going on where we could invest those monies appropriately and, how that, with my understanding of the Iowa public investment, there is a diversified fund which allows you to put the money in and get it out within just a couple of days. So it basically runs like a money market fund. So that could, it's really short-term access. But then in the packet also are the rates that Maxwell State Bank, very attractive rates, I think, on the CDs are very competitive. I think that the first thing is to say, what do we need to have on hand in the short term? the medium term, and then anything that we can hold on to for 6 months and more. Maybe ladder those CDs to expire and mature. So I'd just like to kind of open that up. I think this is where, I think there's probably going to be a future meeting, speaking with
Cam Drotty.
the clerk to see. Somebody join?
Yeah, Cam's on.
Cam. Hi, Cam.
Yeah, Cam from iPad.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're just talking about stuff right now.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. So that's kind of the background of what we have available to invest. I think we can do a lot better than 1.25%. If we can get a couple more percent on top of that, that's going to easily equate to another $20,000 to $30,000 that we can use rather than really just putting the money sit, in a checking account. So I'm not sure. I think the conversation will be, Wendy, I don't know if you can provide any insight, but I know a number of these funds have, kind of stayed stagnant for a while. I don't know what kind of cash reserve we have to have on hand in the short term, if you have a feel for that at all. No.
One of the easiest ways to determine what our cash needs are is starting with our June financial, or our July financial, through October, because that is our tightest time period.
Okay.
Because that is our time frame when we are waiting for tax dollars to arrive, and we are on carryover from the previous fiscal year. So that time frame, along with our previous data that we have, those would all be in our previous council packets of revenues and expenditures based on those time frames. We can kind of get a rough idea of where and what we need during that time frame.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, with that being said, we can look at that and see what we need in the short term. That's a little ways off yet. So, now options-wise from the state bank, really 6 months is the shortest time frame right now for some kind of investment there.
Randy Meyer, I'm the Vice President over at Maxwell State Bank, and I had a conversation with Terry yesterday about the rates. Those are our posted rates. Obviously, we're passionate about Maxwell, and so we want to do right with Maxwell and our deposits, and it flows into, community reinvestment. And so, speaking from a competitive standpoint, we just want to know that you guys that we're here and that we want to have those conversations, because we might be able to structure a product that would work well for you and also allow you access to those funds if you would need them quickly, and without penalty or whatever, however that would happen. But what's in the packet is what is kind of off the chart, no conversation, what the bank would do.
And not to contradict you, Perry, but we've had 3 rate cuts in the past 9 months, and we have a president who is pounding away at lower rates. So we're in an environment of decreasing rates, and so we're trying to provide the best we can. At the same time, our rates are falling for our borrowers too. So, but you had started off with saying we're in a period of rising rates, and our president doesn't like rising rates, so he's kept the pressure on the entire system to keep things down, which isn't good for savers or for towns.
Right. You're right. That 6-month CD rate is very attractive.
Yep.
And any product like that you would go into, those are fixed rates. I don't know if the packet indicates that, but it is a fixed rate. And then that at maturity, it would roll into, the new, whatever the rate is at that time. And at that time, then we can have a discussion about what you're going to do. I think a good, something that would be beneficial with tracking what you guys need to have, as far as like liquidity, during those months is getting a really good muscle fund over the last 3 years, so you can really determine what your needs are.
And iPay right now is often, just on the daily is at 3.4%. So we can access that money as quickly as we would ever need it. So it seemed like there's maybe a blended option here to, as you mentioned and as you mentioned, Dale, too, is, find out where the tightest window is, and that's whatever's left over can go towards the attractive CD rate, and then some kind of blend with the others. So
right, and some of it is easy. Fire department trust fund.
Yeah, that's
an immediate no-brainer. There's no reason that's sitting anywhere other than
right now.
Yes, that should be earning an investment. So those types of funds that we don't access, that we don't allocate funds out of for our general operating expenses, those are no-brainers. So those are the types of things that we can move immediately.
Yep.
And with this, we also approved our investment policy. I believe that was this last summer. So should be clear on the funds that we have available, on what our conditions are as a city policy on what we can invest.
So, and Cam, while you're on the phone, I know as part of materials is that proposed 25% limit. That's just a bill that's in process, but there's no minimum amount in that diversified fund. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. So there is no minimum balance that cities are required to maintain in IPATE. Basically, by passing the IPATE enabling resolution, you are set up in perpetuity to invest whenever the city sees fit, and there's no minimum balance you need to keep with us. Whether you've got $10 or $10 million with us, that daily rate that you have, the dollars that you have in the daily fund will receive that daily rate. Interest accrues daily and then is paid out monthly.
Jim, Randy, and Cam, is it common for Cam, your group, to work with the bank and just kind of help coordinate that? We provide the data. I don't know how that's worked with other cities. It just seems like that would be a good fit. It's like, so the right hand knows what the left hand's doing. And
yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I totally agree with that. It's fine. In a lot of ways, as Ken knows, the bank's in the same position the city is. We have short-term funds, and we're trying to find the best investment policy, best and safe. We're restricted on what we can invest in, but just like you guys are. And so
and we are as well.
Yeah. So definitely, we both have the same issues and outlooks. So
The initiation comes from the account signers that you guys have at Maxwell State Bank, and then we can work with them. What you guys want to do.
And as you said, Dale, I mean, our investment policy covers both options.
Yep.
So we're set with that resolution once that was put in place. Cam, what would it take to set up an account there?
Yep. So all we would need is a notarized signature on our IPATE enabling resolution, which I can get to Wendy here after we hang up. And then there's some account paperwork, basically just notifying us that you've passed the resolution as a council, and then setting up, ACH instructions, contacts, authorized signers, all that good stuff. Usually once that application packet is filled out, we're able to get you guys up and running within 1 or 2 business days, and then as soon as that shell and account are built in our system, you guys are free to move money. Once you guys set up those ACH instructions, usually as long as we know by 3 o'clock on a given day that you want to move money into iPay from your local bank or vice versa, that money's available next business day.
Any other thoughts or input from the rest?
I would just like to recommend that the Finance Committee get together and meet and bring back a recommendation for the mayor to assign funds based on account type and usage.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, concerns? All right. Sounds good. Sounds like we got marching orders, at least.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming.
I have to get off for
No problem.
Otherwise I wouldn't say.
Thank you.
So much.
Thanks, Cam.
Yeah, thank
thank
you
you,
guys. If you guys have any follow-up questions after the meeting or anything like that, I actually stopped through on my way back from a couple meetings earlier today and left my card with Wendy. So any questions that come up, just give me a shout. Happy to be a resource however I can.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. All right. I think we are on to number 5. Discussion of possible action on planning and zoning's recommendation and resolution. I'm going to stack of paper here. Wendy, do you know where number 5 starts?
25.
25.
Page 25.
Thank you.
Thanks for numbering at the top, that helps.
Alright, so Planning and Zoning made the recommendation as follows. Recommended approval of Rock Creek Ridge Plat 1, final plat subject to the following. Completion of all items presented in the memorandum dated January 20th, 2026 from the city engineer of the as-built plan will meet design standards for the city. City's legal review of the sale of the 10-foot parcel to ensure that it follows city and state codes. Or 3, hold public hearings for sale of land as deemed appropriate by legal counsel or rezoning of the 10-foot parcel should it be included in the development of Rock Creek Ridge Plat 1. And 4, a variance would be required to allow right-of-way to be 60 feet with no curb and gutters, seconded by Peter Corey. I thought there was another part of this, Wendy.
What's this memorandum?
I thought they wanted to, I thought they had requested that it was referred to the variance. No? Okay. Thank you. So, required, is the circled part of my packet for the property? Yeah, thank you. In summary, the required steps are, this is from the attorneys, in order to transfer the property. Adopt a council resolution consenting to the inclusion of the property in the plat. Publish notice and hold public hearings in the proposed conveyance. Adopt a council resolution authorizing the sale of and approving terms. Execute and record the deed after closing and complete the final plat approval. That would be required in order to transfer said title of MP. this from our attorney. Anybody want to see that?
Can all of this be approved tonight so that we can get on with the show?
Sure can.
Good.
There's a resolution in your packet.
It's right here.
Yep.
I move to accept the resolution.
Which is the planning and zoning's recommendations.
Yes.
As written. And then the resolution reads that whereas the developer of Rock Creek Ridge has submitted 3 hard copies of the final plat to the City Council for review and approval, City Council has examined said final plat, finds it to be following applicable ordinances and regulations. City Council desires to approve the final plat and to retain 2 copies for city records, returning 1 approved copy to the developer, providing documentation suitable for recording with county recorders. Therefore, be it resolved, final plat of the Rock Creek Ridge is hereby approved as submitted. Mayor and city clerks are authorized and directs to sign the final plat and the resolution attesting the council approval. So our resolution doesn't quite read correctly, right, Wendy? We would have to modify it to match, if we were trying to match what the planning and zoning is requiring, we'll need to modify our resolution. So is that what you are asking for?
Yes.
That we modify our resolution matches what the planning and zoning's recommendation is? Okay? Then the final section, section 3, the city clerk shall retain 2 copies of the city records. Return 1 approved copy to the developer, provide a certified copy of the resolution to the county recorder for recordings. So was that your motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our motion was to approve this with these.
Approve the resolution with the changes recommended from planning and zoning, which is sections 1 through 4.
I kind of have a question, probably maybe for Wes.
I have a motion on the table.
I'll second it, then we talk.
Okay, sorry.
You're okay.
Kind of new to this.
You're
Thank you.
absolutely fine.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
Thank you. You can talk.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. I can talk. Okay. All right. Yeah, Wes, there were a number of recommendations in the letter you all prepared. So I guess this is one of 2 things anyway. It's like, how do we approach that? How do we accept something when there's so many things that need to be addressed? You know, water amongst other things. So I'm hesitant to do any approval of the final plat until those things. There's things called levers, and it's like we need to make these things happen before we get this. So that's the number 1 thing. There's a number of things that water's an issue, obviously, with the existing neighborhoods, and there's a lot of things about 5-year drains not working. But I can't even picture some of the things you're talking about. But so that's kind of those are the main ones that caught my attention. So I'm thinking, what do we do for taking action on that before passing a resolution to accept the plat?
So what we've done in the past, and this is fairly common to my knowledge, is when it's approved subject to acceptance of, or subject to meeting a requirement, then what I've done is, once all those things are made, I'll send notification to the city saying they've met all the requirements. So, like, say there was a thing they had to change on the final plat, okay? So they would submit again with those changes. We take a quick look at it, check, meet all the changes, and I notify Wendy and the mayor, this one has some other little things in it. There's some reconstruction things, some items, but, I'd have to go back through and look at it more detail on things, but I don't know that any of these could not be addressed, in the same manner. Like we've requested some pipe culverts to be replaced, so documenting those are done in the same way. Yeah, they've met all the comments.
So for example, if they have that 12-inch tube and you say these be 15, then that'd be one of the items you check off.
Then we just have our guy say, yep, they got it done, it's replaced. So essentially it's a punch list, if you will, once they're all checked off. We would not be able to add any more to it, like if something else showed up that said, ooh, we forgot about this. That's why I try and make it as thorough as I can when we do it, so that if we want to cross one off, we can, but,
We haven't had a problem with compliance, so, in the past, so I can't see any problems popping up in the future.
We've had nothing but problems with compliance. We already have a final approved plat, and we have a building design out here that doesn't match
Gail, I'm not
that.
gonna argue with you about that, because we've had this discussion before.
What discussion was that?
Approving things before we had all of the information. And that goes way back, and this has been going on long enough, and we've had good cooperation and helpful things to be done, things that needed to be done. I can't foresee a problem in the future if we went ahead and approved it now, subject to the changes or anything that might pop up. We've had good cooperation. It's time to get on with it. I'll change my truck driver language. We've been waiting on this long enough.
So Wes, to summarize, you've seen where, yeah, you passed the resolution, but it's saying subject to these things, so those are, these have to be done.
Yep, so
we're not losing any leverage to make sure those are done.
Right, I don't believe you would lose any leverage if you add the language to there, it's approved subject to. So once it's in there, so that the mayor doesn't sign and return it until he gets they've met all the things that we commented on.
Okay.
But we do have a couple comments in there that are recommendations to the city itself, because we write this to you guys. Like one of them pertaining to the transfer of the property in the water tower lot. So there's some that aren't gonna be a check off by us, but as long as you've taken care of them, that's you. But other than those items, yeah, that's what we would do.
Yeah. My second point is around the fees and expenses. Obviously, this is the final plat, and a lot of your time, your firm's time, has gone into this. Our ordinance 17004 provides that those expenses will be passed on to the developer, and that needs to be addressed. I mean, looking at the budget, we don't have such for that to absorb those expenses. Not saying we can, I'm just saying, I'm looking forward. It's like, okay, where's this come from? And we've got, Wendy, how we paid a certain amount, we got some that are due, like 14 and 27 or something.
We paid almost 15,000, and then for cost estimate West was like 27,000.
Yeah, so there's two items there in the ordinance that costs that can be passed on. One of them is a review time, which in the past, I don't know if we realized the councils in previous, so we haven't had a lot of reviews that was able to be passed on per the ordinance. Then there's the construction inspection side of it, it's a separate one, and that one we did realize that it can be passed, or the ordinance says we passed on. So there's two different things there. One's the review time, one's just the inspection to make sure we're documenting the construction. So, yeah.
So, yeah, seems like that needs to be in here some way that those fees will be paid. But that I think needs to be here. I don't know the normal process. It's my first development. So
I think that falls under the development agreement versus falling under the final plat. Can you provide any clarity?
So I'd also say your ordinance would supersede.
Okay.
So if you have an ordinance that says
This is what happens.
that supersedes it.
Okay.
So when you say supersedes, I mean, you
So
can't
that's
sign it
where
away.
They would need to, you would be able to collect, because you have an ordinance that says that those fees need to be reimbursed. So
what are our remedies for pursuing such? I'm always about levers and leverage and making sure, like, well,
Somebody new to the council, you ask really good questions, Barry. I go to a lot of council meetings, and you should be noted for that. I would consult your city attorney on that in terms of I'm pro-development, but I also am here to make sure that we're of assistance to the city, and I don't think it hurts. Dale referenced the development agreement. I don't think it hurts there, but I would say if you have an ordinance that says you can collect, you should collect, and if it's not paid, then you should have your county attorney work on that. But that's from my seat of somebody that works with development stuff, I think you're probably good, but doesn't hurt if you want to list it in the development agreement.
yeah, I'd like to at least, have it in the development agreement. I'd like to see it there.
You can even reference that ordinance probably in your development agreement. Per ordinance act, we anticipate collection. And again, there might be other fees that aren't included in that ordinance that you will need to reference. So.
But as far as this resolution, that wouldn't impact or preclude any of that.
I don't have it in front. This is specifically around final plat.
This is final plat. Yep. This is a resolution approving the final
Okay.
plat.
I just want to make sure we're not having cart in front of the bush. So.
You'll be looking at number 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Further discussion. Joel?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Barry?
Can I abstain?
Ken? Shane? And Ken?
Yes.
The motion carries. All right, on to discussion and action. Possible action on resolution 2026-08, resolution approving development agreement with Third Millennium Development LLC, authorizing the annual appropriation, tax increment payments, and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement. This is a lot of whereases, so I'm not going to read out loud. Does anybody want to make a motion on anything, or do you just want to skip this? I don't plan on sitting here all night.
So, yeah, for motion. So what do we, motion no?
We have a resolution on the table, 2026-08, which is the development agreement between the City of Maxwell and Third Millennium.
I'll move to approve it, just to get us talking.
I'll second, so we can talk about it.
Discussion.
Yeah, I think we add a paragraph in relation to the fees and expenses. And when I look back to the materials from January, this is the resolution for the development agreement, but but the full development agreement is somewhat 7, 8 pages long. So I guess where I'm like going, it's like if I'm resolving to approve a development agreement, but we haven't. I'm trying to figure out, it's like there's questions here in the development agreement itself that seem like we've got.
So the resolution approves the development agreement that you're holding.
Right.
That's what this is about.
Okay.
So if you don't, if there's issues with the development agreement, this is your time to address through the resolution or address the development agreement, and Mr. Sloss is here to speak to any issues or concerns that we might have.
The only thing I really have, barring the fees and expenses part, is in the development agreement itself, section 5, property tax payment certification. We had a meeting with Tiana talking about the school, the impact of the schools. And we have it's 5, third paragraph of section 5 here, the incremental property tax revenues are adjusted for the school district instructional support, physical plant, and equipment levies. So, but that's only a portion of the school's total amount. So I guess my question is, like, before we enter into this, do we not need to talk to the school and, to see, what they're giving us? So if they get 16, they're only going to get 10, so they're short that. But I don't know if I can have things out of sequence here, but yeah.
I believe that discussion's already happened. With the school districts in regards.
For 10 years.
For the 10 years. So we haven't had the 15-year discussion.
Right.
Okay. So we still need to.
So, perfect timing. I happened to be up in Roland before I came down here today in a consultation hearing.
Okay.
So, there is a consultation hearing in the case of the one I was in Roland. Also, the developer's requesting out 15 years. One of the things I'd first tell you is that somewhere in that document that was developed by your bond counsel, it'll be 15 years or hitting the amount of expense they've incurred. So, it's really kind of kind of ensuring that they have as long as possible to try to collect that. So, again, it's really communicating that and talking in general about the project, the type of housing that's scheduled to be built there, was of interest to the school district up in Roland Story. It's understanding that there would be some diversion of taxes until the infrastructure is paid off, or 15 years. So something Wendy will schedule and will have to be done as part of the process.
So are we ahead of the game to pursue or approve?
What did bond counsel advise on?
This only covers the 10-year, and then Clint's group, I know they have to talk about possible reimbursement too. So it sounds like council still needs to decide if the 15 years is okay, and then his group needs to decide if they will reimburse.
So what we're hearing is that you guys are asking for 15 years with no payments as according to our ordinances for engineering on the city's aspect.
Do that again.
No reimbursements for engineering costs that the city incurs in development. Is that right?
I'm not familiar with that request, I guess. When we talked about the 15 years, it was in part because currently the 10-year gets us about 85-90% of the way with current estimates, current projections. That could change, could
talked with bond counsel, the conversation was that at this time, it made sense to ask for the 15 years up front versus waiting 9 years and then going back and saying, hey, we don't want to do an amendment. So that was kind of a give and take. Either we do the 10 years and do an amendment in year 9, or we do the 15 years now.
Because one thing you and I have not talked, but have you in your models adjusted with the reduced LMI set aside?
With the 20%?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you reduced back to that? Because that piece of the puzzle we've already approved.
Yes.
Again, hoping to improve your modeling.
It did. It did tremendously.
Okay.
Because prior to that change, we weren't even getting close to. We were getting, even in 15 years, we were getting maybe 2/3. So definitely it gets us closer to that, and that, like I said, the 12-year period is where we see that forward turn.
So a couple things. I'll interject from my seat. Again, I am not an attorney. I'm just provided to you as a resource by the Board of Supervisors. I would look at this tonight as a request from the developer. The document in front of you is prepared by your bond counsel that's reflecting 10 and no fees. So I think you've got to maybe react to what their request is, and then I think it would be appropriate to go back. I know you don't want to hear this. I agree. We're getting closer to spring every day. But I think it would be appropriate to go back to your bond counsel to make those changes in the resolution and the document. And then that's going to trigger a memo or an email to Wendy that says, okay, Wendy, you're going to have to go back and have a consultation again with Story County and with the Collins-Maxwell School District. Because what you told them before has now changed. And so I think Amy will officially tell you that. I'm just saying, we're here tonight. I don't want to create a matter where we're trying to unwind something, and it just would seem as if you need to hear their feedback, which is different than the document. So I think you gotta.
So I misunderstood before. You're saying that the option on the table would be 10 years and then no return fee or no payment of fee for engineering services. Is that what I'm to understand, or what?
But I don't know that the council is in agreement with no.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think you're hearing from.
That's an option, but I don't know that it's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to understand.
One request tonight is Centennial is asking you to consider 15 years.
Yep.
I'm reading between the lines on one set of fees that you want to make sure the city gets reimbursed for those. I don't know that that's clear in the development agreement that the city can collect those. There's one thing about ordinances, I think there's another thing about legal costs. So I think doing this correctly, last thing Clint is going to want is to have to stop all this because we didn't have a consultation, or somebody said, now wait a minute, they see the bill from the bond council, and like, hold the horses here, they're expensive. So that's my advice for you. Don't be, I think it's prudent for you to have a discussion on what you want in the agreement and let Wendy and the mayor talk to your bond council about making those changes. So.
Well, when Perry and I were talking, and Steve was here that day as well, I think, or maybe not, when we were talking with Tiana, who's our financial advisor, we said, what's the difference between 10 and 15? What would it look like? And it looks like a couple more houses the first year, and this scheme, the schedule just advances faster in order to get the base values in there.
Yeah.
So that's
right now, the assumption is we do like 5 houses a year over the next 3 years. And then by year 10, we're looking at a collection of, over that 10-year period, the first 10-year period, would be about $415,000 collected of the 570. And so then, take another 2.5 years to get that balance of the about 150, we'll say, somewhere in there, in order to make that final payment of the balance. That's kind of
the paper I have on the 15 years shows 3 houses in years 1 through 3, and then 1 home in year 4, And compared to what Tiana put on the other one, she was looking at 5 houses the first year, which was 2 more, so that, that's where the difference is and what the expectation is gonna be. We want the houses here as fast as we can.
Yep.
And in my mind, if we can get it done in 10 and get the number of houses in and people in the houses, sooner the better.
And like I said, this is the biggest chicken and egg sort of discussions developers and councils need to have is, in a perfect world, in some of our communities where we just haven't had new houses built, it's really hard to say how long will they sit on the market, what is really the right price point. That is the most difficult thing to say, what is that really going to look like? They're probably committed to putting up this, and I mean, the other thing is they have an approved workforce housing tax credit, I think 6, isn't it, Cliff?
Yep.
So they've kind of committed to 6, and they've got some nice tax incentives to do that. Part of that whole idea is to help minimize the risk, too, on the first houses. So I think at some point in time, it's numbers on the paper until interest rates go up or they just don't move because there's not really good tested market data from that as well. So that is the interesting thing, Doug, and I say I know nobody, that's a great thing about a development agreement because you're holding their feet to say, okay, you want reimbursed for those infrastructure costs, put up houses so they start paying taxes. Property taxes being in the rears also makes that first payment very interesting. So you should know, Perry, this is very difficult stuff. We don't have to face it all that often, but it is one of the most challenging things to try to work the council through and try to balance the needs of a developer.
And am I correct that no lots will be sold if I wanted to just buy a lot? That's not an option. Is that correct?
Currently, our goal is to develop them ourselves, build ourselves, but we've said that we would be maybe open to that discussion if there is somebody who would like to.
Okay, so that might
as long as we can reach agreement on the price for the lot. That's the thing.
And I think also, I'll speak to help you out here a little bit. It's not a good example of buying a lot and holding on to it for 6 years.
No.
So Clint's gonna if you want a lot, you should probably go tell Clint, we'll buy a lot and we'll build tomorrow. Because then that helps to get that repayment back to them. So you gotta kind of think in regards to that. So.
You said something, or one of you did, about doing an amendment at the end of 10 years or on the 9th year. How much more pain is that than just doing 15? Are we talking just a smidgen more work, or is that just a whole? I just like that flexibility. It's like, hey, no, we're going for 10, unless we have another financial crisis in 5 years. It's like, hey, this makes sense. Yeah, we never expected this, but that's kind of where I'm coming. I like that flexibility option. Not that we're not willing to go 15, but let's commit to something a little sooner than that. Is it painful to do the amendment, or is it
I think you'll have to have your public hearings done again. I don't know about consultation. I would assume so. I think it's really, the other thing, again, I think Clint would have to be very transparent with the council if there's a lender decision that's also reflecting it. So the bankers are not here, but again, you guys are sitting seats where you know how much water sewer and streets cost. There is a reason that we don't have a lot of developers beating down your door to do this. It's very expensive. And it's very expensive to put that in on the hopes that we're going to put up houses and somebody's going to buy them. And so I didn't want to speak for you because sometimes a lender may say, we want some guarantee, because I would suspect it's very common that developers take these development agreements to the bank and they never see those tax payments. Those tax payments get committed right to the bank, right to the debt for that infrastructure. So so that would be the other thing, is that there's pressure there to ensure, because there isn't, in some of our rural towns, there just hasn't been any real estate activity on the new housing front, so.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion on the table for approval of resolution 2026-08, which is an approval of the development agreement
For 10 years.
for 10 years. And Clint is asking for,
I guess I was asking if we did 10 years potential for an amendment and, for year 9 to extend to 15 to collect the balance at that time.
That sounds reasonable to me.
so we currently have the motion for the approval of this resolution as it is. So just wanted to make sure that we heard what Clint was asking. So, Joel?
I'm gonna say no.
Sue?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Barry?
No.
And Ken?
No.
The motion fails. So, the previous motion was made by Doug, which gives Doug the ability to request for the head, right?
Anybody voting on the prevailing side can request the motion, right? I didn't vote on the prevailing side.
I'm sorry?
Whoever's on the prevailing.
Prevailing side. Okay. So, then, I'm sorry.
Will carry your.
Yes, one of you guys has the ability to amend the original motion, which was approval of the resolution as it stood.
Like what Clint said,
Mm-hmm.
9 to 15. That would be changing it to approve it tonight and not hold things up further. And it would still cover the 10 to 15.
And we've had the discussion with the school on the 10th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was the motion we just defeated.
I would make a motion to approve the resolution with a provision for potential amendment at 10 years and include the fees.
Is that what we just defeated?
No.
I got lost then. What's, say it
We're
again?
gonna have the fee reimbursement.
Yeah, there's no fee reimbursement.
Oh.
This is right here.
Okay.
We have a motion.
So 10 years and the fee reimbursement.
It's a 10-year with the opportunity for
Extend it necessary.
extended.
Okay.
But then have the reimbursement as well.
Yeah. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. Further discussion.
So I still would advise you that you're gonna have your bond counsel make these adjustments. They'll have to advise you on the legality of committing a future counsel to do something.
Okay.
So she'll advise you, if that statement's okay in there to consider the extension, but she may say, no, you cannot commit a future counsel to some sort of action. So I'm just saying, honestly, I think you're fine to recommend that and let your bond counsel advise or not on whether you can do that. But certainly the addition of the fees, that sort of stuff is well within the discussion. I just would say that that's one thing that sometimes
Would only require a resolution modification, correct?
That's what I just said. I'd let them let them just say, is it okay to add that clause? And if it is, that's good for everybody, but they may also say, you're better approve 10, and then they can always bring it forward for consideration when none of us are probably going to be in that room that day. But that would just be one thing I might interject.
Any further discussion?
Would it make sense, based on what you said, to just, that portion about at 10 years reconsider, just put a blurb like pending council? Then we have that built in. We can adjust it.
Yes, and
that makes
they
this
probably
one.
will have some more legal jargon to it.
Right. But for the layperson.
Yeah, I think. And I think you're trying to also provide some assurance to your developer too.
Yes.
I so appreciate that.
We're a partnership here.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that.
Yep.
And Clint wants to make sure this gets done right too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So that's just one thing that they get a little sometimes.
Were you amending your motion?
Yeah, I'll just restate it. Say, move to approve the resolution with the amendment for reconsideration at year 10 for extension pending council advisement, and then also include reimbursement for fees.
Still second in the amendment. Further discussion? Sue?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Doug?
Yeah.
That motion carries.
Have a good night.
I think you guys might be done with me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, call me if you need it.
Yeah, thanks.
Not quite. Discussion and possible action on ordinance 346, an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the Maxwell urban area renewal pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa. We're not done yet.
Don't go yet.
I heard that code section, I think maybe I better stick around.
Council want to do anything with this? If not, I'm going home.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Yeah. Second.
Okay, further discussion?
No.
The essence of this is really just to expand the boundaries of what qualifies for
This includes,
being inclusion, as simple as that.
it is a mapped out area of an urban renewal.
Yeah, what we can put into the tip.
That's what it is.
Okay.
All right. Joel?
Yes.
Doug?
Yeah.
Barry?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Ken?
Yep.
All right. Discussion and possible action on installation of a free microchip scanning station from Oh My Dog Rescue. Thank you, Clint.
Thank you. Have a good night.
So I have to talk about this again because the motion that was passed was that we would install it once we had cameras where we were gonna install it, and now we've kinda stalled on the camera thing. So I'd like to reintroduce this to get it installed, like we change the motion so that we go ahead and get it installed prior to the cameras being installed.
I'll make a motion that we install it without the cameras.
Second.
You get what you pay for.
Further
Do we
discussion?
really need it?
It's free.
Further
I
discussion?
know, but do we need it?
Yes,
Why?
so that people can check their dogs and see if they're chipped when they find them.
How many times has that happened?
I don't know how many times it happens, but if it happens once and we have some place here and we have all these dog problems that we have, or people problems that you wanna call it.
That's right, they are
Okay,
people
but
problems.
if we find a dog and we have a chip reader here on a Saturday morning instead of the vet, then it works.
And
Then
if
we
we
can
call
find
Story
something, and then
County,
we can
they
call
have a
Story
chip
County.
reader,
We
And they
can
charge
call-
us.
And they'll charge
they
us,
charge us
but we can
anyway,
still
no matter
call.
what. And the whole thing is, how
Or
many
if it
times has
belongs,
that happened?
or if the dog belongs to me, then you can find me and tell me, and I will come get my dog. You don't have to
I'm
call
not gonna
Story
respond to that because of previous conversations.
County. Okay.
But it is something that I think if we install it, doesn't work out, we take it out.
And we don't have any money lost in it.
No,
It's-
I mean, it's
not a
kind of an
charge for it.
experiencing if it does end up costing us because we're getting these, calling, with the collateral costs, I guess, to it. So I just don't.
But
It's
we don't need
not
a camera
contract,
out
right?
here to check on the dog to see who's checking the scanner.
That's not what the camera was in, that's not why we were gonna install a camera.
Do we absolutely have to have a camera and spend that kind of money?
This motion doesn't have to.
We're not buying a camera.
Well, that's what I understood you saying,
no.
we had to have a camera.
Reader out front here.
It's just a chip reader, it's no
And there's-
camera.
And there's no contractual arrangement here, it's just they install
No,
it.
there's no fee or anything like that.
Cool.
All right, there's no further discussion. Ken?
Yeah.
Doug?
Yep.
Sue?
No.
Perry?
Yep.
And Phil?
Yes.
That motion carries. Number 9, discussion possible action regarding access control and installation of cameras at City Hall and the library.
So council had asked me to provide a breakdown, a spreadsheet on the 3 bids that I had. I apologize, I did spell the third one there, it's Ubiquity, no M in there.
Okay.
So, Perry was looking at some information on it, couldn't find it, and I realized that I misspelled it there, so. But it would be, I know we've applied for a Prairie Meadows grant, and we had a volunteer that did this application for us to help offset the cost. I personally would recommend the Astra Security. The Ubiquity is just too much of, we have to do all the work, we have to, if a camera breaks down or a server goes down or whatever, we have to do the work on it ourselves, and I just don't know that much about the back end of it, and we would have to pay somebody to do the IT side of it for us, and I just think that's going to be, we're going to end up paying the same amount of money by the time we hire somebody. I think Astra Security, being a local business, they've got an office in Ankeny, and they are getting ready to put another one up, I believe, up State Center area. But that would be my recommendation, is to look at Astra Security. And
But there's a monthly charge.
it'd be a monthly charge of $78. And that's, if you look at the breakdown there where I have the $4,680, that is actually 5 years at $78 a month. So I just was showing the comparison to the RTI Verkada.
So that's the aggregate, that's what we would pay over 5 years, not your annual per 5 years.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But upfront costs are $17,000 on that Astra.
Correct. Versus the $22,400.
So we're spending
And how many sites is this?
$28,000.
This right here is just installing for security on City Hall and the library.
Just two
Yes,
locations.
and the access control.
So 2 cameras total, one in each building?
4 cameras total. Again, yes, 2 cameras inside and 2 cameras outside.
Wow.
So 4 cameras.
And because I was asking you about Ubiquity, yeah, their customer reviews are less than stellar. So, but
It's what I use at school.
Yeah.
And it works just fine for what I
okay for that.
And I've got over 100 cameras up there.
Okay.
So, it does work as long as you got.
Of course, the only people that complain on the reviews are the ones that put it in wrong feed, and probably so you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, and I mean, I've had some cameras go bad.
Yeah.
But at $500 a camera, you just buy a new camera and put it up. The Ricotta camera, they're a little more expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and so.
One of the things that I like the idea, not necessarily for the surveillance so much as, but when you brought up the justification for here, for their, I think even more valuable would be some system that can notify. I think that would be more valuable. So in looking at this, Simply Safe comes up, they do business installation, and they would be $300 per site and $400 a year per site. And you can move those bases anywhere in the city, move around. Now, they had similar to reviews to Ubiquity, but I think the reviews, again, if to do, you can do both, do it yourself or have somebody, but obviously do it yourself. Some people can't do IKEA furniture, so that's probably the basis for some of the reviews. So I appreciate having this and seeing what each of them offers. You have the Cadillac or Lexus and the Cadillac, and then you have
The Volkswagen.
Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody, but something less than those two. But I like the idea. I do like more of the idea, especially here, something that can notify that if they hit a key fob, it goes. We identify, like say Tony, he's always around, so he gets a notification, hey, something's up here, and then he can then make the call to say call law enforcement. Usually within 30 seconds, they say. So. I'm just throwing another one on that. I like the concept. The numbers give me pause. But I like it, especially when you said about providing protection to the people that are here that notify them. That's kind of one thing that I really like is a notification element added to this.
Joel, we budgeted an allocation for access control this year. Do you remember how much that was?
I do not remember how much that was.
Wendy?
Joel, quick question. Do you know, was it the community betterment grant that we got from Prairie Meadows?
That she applied for?
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one it is.
Okay.
And I don't even know how much she asked for the money. I know Wendy provided her with the spreadsheet with the cost estimates and everything.
Sewer 1,000, City Hall 4,000.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. So.
I was just looking at the grants that Wendy sent out to us. That I'm just looking through them to see if there's any other ones besides that too.
What this access control on here is $6,115.
Yes.
For Astra.
That was just for the
door locks,
the door locks and all that.
No.
There was still $4,500 in labor for them to install it.
My question is that where is that located? Because when we identified what we were going to spend money on, we identified where we were going to spend money because we have to identify which budget those funds come from.
Yeah.
So we identified $4,000 for City Hall. We identified $1,000 for the sewer plant. We identified $1,000 for the water plant.
Yep. And this is only covering this building right here, so the 4 doors we've got for the library and the City Hall.
Okay. So
that was not going anywhere else.
This being $10,000 or $9,000, be about $6,000 short of what we've allocated this year.
In Prairie Meadows, it says awards expected in June. Is this something that can be delayed until we know what's going on and whether we're gonna get money for help?
Because the money that we have right there, that, for the $4,000 for City Hall, that's still this fiscal year that we set aside.
Yep.
And if we get awarded a grant in June, then that $4,000 plus whatever grant money we get would potentially take care of this issue this year, this fiscal year still.
I guess I'm thinking of sidewalks and roads and infrastructure and other things that Maxwell needs. Is this an absolute necessity versus these things that are already, that we're short on money? That's my question on spending money on things that are a want, but we haven't really had a proven need for.
I'll remind you that there was a reason that the council approved the access controls. That's as much as I'm going to say on it.
I think I said no, but that's all right.
I still go back to, the deputy said that they caught this kid that broke into Dollar General, but I don't think we still caught the person that broke the window on the VFW.
Or the
But Joel, take off your cop hat and put on the city council and look at the whole big picture of money being spent.
I am. When something happens that somebody breaks this window out here in front, or breaks the sign out there in front, or breaks in here, steals your personal information that is sitting in the file cabinet.
No difference in the bank.
And they have alarms and cameras and access control and all that.
And they have more money coming in than what we do.
And that's why I'm trying to protect what we have here. And our identities are all in that cabinet over there. So I'm just trying to protect what we have. So
Having a granddaughter who was out at Brown University when this last fiasco happened. Brown University, as large as they are, had zero cameras and zero recognition of thing. In fact, they thought they caught the guy, and it was the wrong guy, and released the whole world to go back to normal. I don't think this is going to fix everything.
Yeah, no, it's not going to fix everything.
I don't think so either. I think it
has merit. The price tag is what caused me pause. I'd like to put it out there only because I was searching and Simply Safe comes up and they have reasonable ratings, but I would like to see, just pilot one. And we can get the door access for $200 a door. You give everybody a different pin so you know who's coming and going, that type of thing. So you do have that tracking. It might not be as fancy as scanning or anything, but you all have a pin. But I like the concept. I think there's a merit to it, especially here. That I would like to try it on a small scale. And it's like, hey, if that's not the right fit, or hey, Astra, what can you give us in addition to what we've just tried? I'd like to have us put our toe in the water at a smaller amount and then upscale, if necessary, to these. But I think it has merit. It's just a price tag gave me the pause.
When I first originally brought this up, I just finished my second year. I first brought this up, first couple months I was on. We had talked about, you can go to Sam's Club and for $500 buy a camera system that has 4 cameras and a DVR and all that. But I've heard other council members say you get what you pay for too.
That's right.
So, you spend $500 and now we still have to pay for Tony or Scott or somebody to come in here and install it, and then make sure that it's working right and make sure that it stays working.
Yeah. Their installation was really, it was a fraction of the cost of the equipment, which was $400. But it doesn't work out. It comes with a guarantee, and we ring up Astra and say, hey, this didn't work. But I just like the concept of having a notification option for the clerks here. Mm-hmm. I think that, to your point, Doug, the camera doesn't stop. It has a deterrent effect, no doubt, when you see that it's under surveillance. But having that notification, I think, to me, takes that to a preventive
I agree with what you say there on the deterrent.
Yeah.
I mean, even, that's the thing, is if we put the cameras in here, we do have to put signs out that say,
Right.
it is under video
Yep.
surveillance,
Yep.
video monitoring. And that simple sign right there
Just fine, yeah.
does a lot. ADT, you can buy an ADT sign to put on your alarm building that says, I have an alarm system here. And that deters people just with that. So, yeah, it is a big deterrent.
My biggest question for Simply Safe is, it's like, okay, we have a server here to capture everything, but what about putting one down at the shop? And all of their devices, the base will record for 7 days, and then it will start overriding. But you're going to know something happened in 7 days, and you can download it and everything. So, and that gives you, again, it's $300 to $500 for equipment per site, plus $400 a year service per site. So, I just like that. And there's no, you can run that thing for 3 months, cancel the contract, and we're done. Type of thing. There's no commitment, to that. So that's.
I know that my son uses Astra just for his personal use.
Yeah.
Out at his place. I know he has, I want to say,
Don't give too many details.
4. He has many cameras.
There you go.
He has very many cameras, inside and outside. I'm asking him here kind of what his cost was, but I asked him, he goes, Astra. All I asked was, who do you have for security? He says, Astra. Great people.
Yeah.
Joel, my only other question I would have is, because the one thing we do for sure have budgeted this fiscal year, is access control. What is the monthly service plan cost for the access control? So if we eliminate the licensure, or if we can eliminate the cameras off of this, the camera labor, I mean, at that point we're looking at $15,000 for a 5-year plan versus the total of $27,000 for a 10-year with cameras, or
Alright,
21,000 for 5 years.
So the access control, if we did just access control, it is $52.50 a month.
What about
So
that?
basically,
Thinking about doing access.
so what they have here for access control would be $10,569.50 up front, and then $52.50 a month.
And that's
So
how many doors?
That would be the 4 doors, the 2 at the library and the 2 at City Hall.
So it'd be $10,600, and we have $4,000 budgeted for that.
You gonna
Now,
take it out of sidewalks?
If we wanted to, we could drop it down towards just the 2 City Hall doors. I mean, that's going to cut out half of that there. There's, $5,500 plus $2,500 or $25 a month. I mean, $30 a month. But then it's just these 2 doors here.
So the other side of that is if you don't do the library, and you do these 2 City Hall doors, and you do the water plant and the treatment plant, now you're at $6,000 money that you have available.
It might be a little bit more just because
The location's different.
different locations, so you don't have because you have to put a door controller at each place
But if I recall, that was our primary focus, was to
for the access control.
access control and protection of water supply and City Hall.
Yeah, because a 2-door controller kit with cabinet is $1,500. It'd be $1,500 at each location then, on top of the door strikes and
So
card readers and such.
there's what, one door down at the lagoon and one door at the shop,
Not the shop, water plant.
or water plant, I mean.
It's actually two. I suppose there's a garage door. And I think there's two doors access to the lagoon. I think there has to be one on the backside.
I think you're right. I think there's one on the backside there, front
The
side.
main front entry, and then there's one in the back, I think. So it'll be 2, 4, 6 total doors. So, this is discussion and possible action. There's nothing saying has to be done. But it's important to note that we did allocate money and funds for specific situations, and this is all based off of other data. So,
Do we table it until next meeting? And more information may be available.
Or we hear from the grant, that would be.
Well, that won't be till June.
We won't know about that until June.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to know if Prairie Meadows is going to give anything for that or not.
We can
before
move forward on just access control for the city hall, and then that,
just waiting for a motion.
that's the problem though. I mean, we're still,
I move we table it until June when we know more about what Prairie Meadows is going to do and we have funds available. Because I think there's other things that need to be done in town where that money could be used better for the community.
We already got an earmark.
it's already earmarked for access control.
Which means it just dies, goes back into the general fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a motion.
You
Is there
guys
a
think
second?
differently than a woman does, I guess.
Last call for a second. Motion failed due to lack of second.
Typical.
I'd like to make a motion to, try one setup. Because of the high price here, one trial with, Simply Safe at one location.
Would
Here
it
at
be
the
here,
City Hall.
are you specifying here? This location here?
Just this location here, including installation, professional installation, as a trial, and then, assess that service, because that would be a low-risk, investment up front. It's $17.33 a day. If there's no, you don't have to sign up for a year. So just trial a setup, with Simply Safe. I think it would give us a good experience to say, do we want to continue with this or move on and upscale to?
Can you, tell me what that was again? One more time, what Simply Safe has?
Yeah, Simply Safe.
What they have, what are we getting?
Oh, yep. So you get for $273, you get a base station, a keypad on the door, a 4G module. It gets technical. 2 entry sensors, a motion sensor, panic button, smoke and carbon alarm listener, a smart alarm wireless indoor security camera, 1 outdoor security camera. They can add another one for that. That would be incremental to that. I think another $30. Window decals, home security yard sign, core business monitoring, and then the outdoor security camera, Series 2 and cable. The extra smart lock, the keypad was different. The smart lock was $48 each. So right $120 for everything, for the equipment. And then
I'm sorry, I should have stopped you. We have a motion.
Okay.
Thank you. Further discussion.
Thank you, Perry.
Yep.
Hearing none? Joel?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Doug?
Yeah.
Barry?
Yes.
Ken?
Yep.
Claire, I'm gonna put you in charge of getting that going.
Gary handed it over to me.
Oh, perfect.
You wanna take it? Phone number's on there.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. You can ask.
It falls under public safety. I'll do it.
Perfect.
I'll help.
Perfect.
All right, on to number 10, discussion of possible action on releasing a request for proposal for installation of a solar array at the wastewater treatment plant.
So this is just kind of brought up the other day. I don't even remember. We were talking about solar stuff.
Oh, wasn't it, I think in the last meeting, I had somebody email me.
Yes, so did we. Yeah, I think we all got the same email.
Okay.
I think it was a spam, but,
Yeah.
no, it's legit. I talked to the guys from Waterloo. Okay. Two guys. So, yeah, I think we kind of all took little pieces off of that and started getting a hold of people. So I talked to the electrical, superintendent in State Center. They have a solar array out south of town around the sewage lagoons. He said he has this big file. He's gonna give me copies of everybody so that we can look at it and figure out if that's what we wanna do. But, I did find this request for proposals, for solar array. So I kinda, changed some wording on it.
You mean you didn't write all that from scratch?
I benchmarked things, so, just something I came up with, not saying that's the RFP we have to put out, but, and then I know you said you talked to somebody and got some information too.
That group from Waterloo, and I also talked to a company from Ankeny. The thing that I'm questioning here, you said just at the wastewater plant, there's two options at both of these companies I spoke with. One is they pay us $1 and rent some ground, and they put their machinery in, and they give us a slight discount for the electricity that we draw off of at that site. Other option is we buy it like a homeowner would, and then the profit is all ours as well as the expenses. However, they've got 5 or 10 year warranties on things. The question I had is, you said only the wastewater plant, and you're absolutely right. Over the last 4 years, if I made this multiple choice, it'd be interesting. $177,000 is what we spent at the wastewater plant. Second in line was the water plant itself. Oh, sorry, sewer lagoon first was $170,000. Then the water plant was $20,000. City shop was $18,000. Fire station was $14,000. So I wonder if we're going to look into this, and whichever cycle we take, if we let them do it and we have nothing to do with it other than getting a 2-cent per kilowatt hour discount, maybe even not that, or if we want to do it ourselves, and how many units are we going to look at? Are we looking at just one spot? Are we looking at 3 or 4 if we have them do it on their tab?
I think a little confusion here. So the solar array is putting up multiple panels that we would basically have run solar power for everything in the city off of that array out there.
The way those companies talk to me, it has to be per site. It's not cost effective to run lines from here to half mile across town. That's what they were talking about. Anything's possible.
Like I said, I kind of just researched with him up there.
And
like State Center is obviously bigger than we are. They paid $2 million. They bought like all these panels that they put out there, and they run their own electrical plant. But
for every building, and
they actually have it where the entire city is on generator power. So if the city loses power, their generator kicks on and takes over the power for the city as well. I mean,
So to clarify,
and I think that's a lot bigger than what we're looking at.
There's a couple different scenarios here. One is, yes, there's always the individual plat, which is solar panels for wastewater plant only. What you're talking about is a enterprise of electrical electrical generation, where the city is now generating electricity, selling to the residents, and selling back to a stabilized electrical company such So there's two different things here that we're talking about. Both are viable options, but when I made this recommendation for the committee was to consider all of those options, to review whether we start our own enterprise or whether we just save our hundreds of thousands of dollars in our own electrical costs.
And that's, the solar array, there's still a couple options there as well as, where we just get a hold of a company and they put it up, they take care of it, they do all that stuff, and we get just a little slice back.
So, yeah, that's what.
But then if we buy it outright, then
you have the option to buy from these two every 5 years, I think it is, that they'll put a price tag on it if you want to buy it.
Well, then we have to have somebody maintain that.
Right, right.
Or
But
pay
it becomes an enterprise, as the
Right.
mayor said, where now that's how we figure in, okay, we're gonna have to hire somebody to be the superintendent,
We already
take care of that.
pay for water billing. We already bill every resident in this town, so half of the costs are already built into the factory for the opportunity to
How
factor
much,
that in.
how big a site are you talking? Is needed, how many acres, how many?
I think there's, if you look at the map of what they've got out there at First State Center, it's around their sewer system, and kind of comparing to what we have up here for property around ours, I think we could get enough solar panels to do.
Just on our lagoon.
Yep. And it's already our property that we already own, so
Right.
it's not like we're having to buy property or anything like that.
Wes, thoughts?
Never done it before. So, I don't know, it's all intriguing. Definitely have space out there for what to do. Question I have is the infrastructure, how much does it offset our power use? Battery storage, immediate demand, questions like that. But yeah, I don't know.
And that's why we put just an RFP together, is then send it out to companies.
There's companies that do this.
Yeah.
So they would be proposing a plan
Right.
that would hopefully answer, or we could ask them all these questions.
Right. And then if we decide that, no, this is not what we're gonna go, we can just say,
Thanks.
we have the right to refuse all offers. And I think that, I put that in that RFP, I think, back there, that we have the right, the city of Maxwell has the right to refuse offers. So if we decide that, no, we're not gonna go that route.
Well, our electric costs over the last 2 years have gone up over 20%. More than 20%.
Everybody says.
From 104,000 to 110,000 to 130,000.
How does that compare to our use? I haven't run the numbers, actual usage. I don't know how much that number is. Just, are we keeping the shop too warm in the winter?
So you're wanting to know is the kilowatts actually increased?
What I can tell you is that one of our biggest costs is the sewer plant. And it's the lighting. It's the lighting that it takes to kill the bacteria.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes. Okay. Yep. And those just suck a ton of juice. $171,000.
$171,000 over 4 years.
So those
That's
lights,
the UV or that's the whole bill?
That's the plan.
That's
So
the
there-
plan,
so there's some
We have some
pumps in there.
that blowers out there for
Yeah, blowers
aeration,
and
so they take a little bit of power too.
Mm-hmm.
The UV nice thing is it's only so many months of the year.
Yeah.
Summertime, I think. Still, yeah, those are your big draws. So, that being said, those are probably consistent kilowatts.
yeah.
They're gonna be basically the same. It's not like you can, efficiency-ize, that's not a word. Make them more efficient.
Yep.
In too much, without major overhaul. I mean, those companies are always looking for ways to make more energy efficient things. But
Some of it does ebb and flow with water usage too. So when we process 10 million gallons of water in July,
Right.
because all that pumps through.
Because all those pumps
power costs So that will fluctuate your kilowatt hours. Your UV and your blowers won't, but your pump cost will, yeah.
Yep.
Our monthly bills for the last 4 years have run between $3,700 and $6,200 per month.
Kilowatt hours.
Dollars.
Is plant all on a single meter?
Yes.
So there's not an interrelated way to break those out?
The pump, I think, is on a different meter, though, the lift station.
Is it down Office First?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just curious, I know I spoke with you, Wes, about biogas.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're producing gas, and there's actually running micro turbines too, then that would just power everything. I don't think we have enough volume, unfortunately.
Yeah, so
but do you guys have like a renewable energy matter expert at some
not necessarily that's solely for that. Our lead treatment engineer, I swear he's got a photographic memory. He's done those projects in the past. He says he's not an expert, but when I talk to him, he sounds like an expert, having done enough of them. The big takeaway, and like I said, I can hook you up with him if you want a more detailed answer. The big takeaway is biogas is very dirty, so it can complicate maintenance and operations, whether you're burning it in a boiler, which is the preferred way because those are cheap to rehab, or you're burning an engine generator, which are more expensive when it eats it away in 5 years, and you got to overhaul it. To do any kind of scale to sell back energy, you got to be like a Des Moines size place.
Yep.
The other thing he mentioned is the process matters, so your treatment process.
Yep.
Because we're a lagoon process with
Yep.
finishing pond, we're not going to generate the bugs enough to make the biogas in a quantity that would be worth. Right. It gets costly, it gets expensive. There's been much larger cities than us that have looked into it, tried it, and said, yeah, no thanks, and they've backed away after several years just because, it sounds great in theory, but the reality of it is really tough, especially for a small system like ours.
Yeah, I was just thinking about solar and
Yeah, it'd be great if when maybe someday someone will come up with technology that works on a small scale, but currently it's not there.
So, Joel, thank you so much for putting this together. The bonus is that this gets the council discussing bigger issues that are cost prohibitive to the city, as well as potential changes that the city might be facing with budgetary constraints moving forward. So the sooner we think about these types of things, the further we can position ourselves ahead of constraints coming our way. So I think we've talked this one to death, so fine with the motion, or we can move on.
I make a motion to approve this RFP and deliver to said companies and just solicit those proposals. Start the process.
To get more information. Second.
Further discussion? Doug?
Yeah.
Joel?
Yes.
Ken?
Yeah.
Perry?
Yeah.
Sue?
No.
That's why? Sue?
I-
Can I ask why? Why the no?
Money. I just feel that there's so many things that this community needs for the citizens that are the taxpayers that are paying for it that need to be done rather than pie in the sky dream world that yes, we'd like this and yes, we'd like that. But we got to look at the bottom line. How much money have we got coming in? And how much is being expended on things that aren't totally necessary for the citizens that are paying for it?
Okay. Thank you. Discussion of possible action on Story County Law Enforcement Services contract for fiscal year 2027.
You know, because it'll just waste time.
Okay.
So I'll wait for somebody else to make the motion.
Tell me what you were gonna do and I'll do it. If we come up with some other solution,
I move approval for discussion.
I'll second, so we can talk.
Further discussion.
I
Again,
think we need
like
to.
this evening, I talked to Deputy Powers, right?
Powers, yeah.
Deputy Powers, and I told him, I said, you know, you come to these meetings, you hear about everything, and you're the one that gets to collect all the crap and hear everything. But yet, the guy who's on the city, or on the morning shift or day shift never gets to hear any of it. And I told him, I says, I almost stopped to talk to him because I seen him on S-27 sitting at the anhydrous plant that used to be out there, watching for cars to come over the hill from Polk County when he could have been spending, and I don't know where he posted his time to be, but he could have been in town, at least watching the city a little bit, you know, instead. I just can't wait for somebody else to run for sheriff.
We're not getting the bang for the buck that we're paying.
Oh, nobody is.
Nope.
On this side of the county.
No, I think that's the reason to look into other options.
And I don't know what the other options are. I mean,
I don't either.
That's the problem, there are no other options.
Right, because we can't.
And we still have to pay the jail fee.
Mm-hmm. We cannot afford to start our own department here.
Even if we talk 4 towns into going together, it would be iffy.
Yeah.
What did we do 5 years ago? Did we have people in town who took care of some of these things?
We don't have people in town that can pull somebody over.
No, not that they can pull somebody over, but there are things that can be taken care of by someone in town. And I think we need someone in town rather than Story County Animal Control that charges us $100 for 2 people. No, what I'm saying, Joe, you're not listening to what I say. Can I finish, please?
Sure.
They charge us $100 to come down here if 2 people come down. And what do? Nothing. Has anything been done with a lot of the problems that we've had around this community? What about the people that park wherever they want, or they do whatever they want? We need some type of accountability in town. Someone is able to do it. Deputize me, I'll go after him.
It takes more than that.
Very good. So,
Yeah, I think we talked about this maybe last council meeting that, I mean, there's no opting out of this. It's like anything we do would be on top of it.
Yep.
So it's really kind of, number one, that's out of the question budget-wise. But I do like your point that you're talking about, Ken, is like, you're sitting there, like, if people wouldn't speed, the law enforcement could take care of things that really matter, like, you know, dangerous, whatever, or helping out, you know, spotting somebody with mischievous behavior, and those are real things that really do protect, you know, the place. So, and to your point, Sue, it's like, yeah, we have lots of ordinances, and it's impossible to enforce them all. But I think if we sit down with them, is it possible to meet with the law enforcement? It's like, what can we do? You know, we have people doing, what is it? When they're doing the burnouts now, they call it drifting now, or whatever. So I'm learning some of this stuff. But it's like, what do you do to catch this stuff, to minimize it? Maybe we open up parking lot and just let them drift away, and that way, you know, it's like opening a skate park to get the off the sidewalk. But just get some ideas, some real value-added suggestions from them, and have conversations with them. Hey, can you focus on this? If you're going to do this, can we do something to get some value? I don't know what that conversation looks like.
So a little history.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I ran for council, or got on council, was because I wasn't happy with what the services we're getting. So we've actually sat down and talked with the sheriff and with the county attorney.
Okay.
Nowhere in this contract does it say how many hours we can expect for him to be here, or to have somebody here. I'm not saying him exactly, but for a deputy to be in the city. The League of Cities, the contract that they have out there actually says there should be an hourly, we can expect, for the money we pay, we should be able to get
20 hours.
X many hours a week or a month. The sheriff is refusing to put those hours down on paper. And the county attorney said he does not have to have those hours on there. So we pay the same amount of money every month if they're here for 5 hours or they're here for 100 hours. We pay the same amount of money.
That's kind of what I was saying to last meeting.
Can I finish what I was saying? So when I talked to him, they said that he would not put that down there, because if we say we want to be here 40 hours a month, then what happens when he hits that 41st hour? Are we going to pay extra for him to have somebody here? And so there was a conflict of how we wanted it worded, and so it just stayed the same.
No, because I think he owes us, so we got to credit.
But that's what we need their help. We can't do it on our own. We're paying them, and we need their help. That's what I tried to get across at the last meeting. And, can't tell me how to do my job. Well, then do your job. You're getting paid for it.
But like the sheriff says, he does have all these other communities that he has to patrol too. They have, only so many on duty at a time. And so if there's big crimes happening up in Roland, they can't spend time down here because they're all up there.
And I know law enforcement's stretched and thin. I remember seeing an account of State Patrol. I mean, it used to be hundreds, and now we're talking tens of them. And it's like, I'm assuming Lincoln County should. But I think would be hard.
Contract to the state to have the highway patrolman come through town more often.
Yeah.
It'd be more expensive than what paying the sheriff, I think.
But
They make more money.
Yeah, I know.
I guess I'm thinking, if we could sit down, it's like, what are the things we really as a town care about the most? Put those down, have meetings with us, like, help us. You may not have to be here, but if you can consult with them and say, here's some of the steps you can take, that they can do. I think if an SLA is a pie in the sky ask. I wish we could do it, but they have accountabilities everywhere. So if they have a hot spot somewhere, that's where they're going to be. So I think it behooves us to say, what do we care about that we want their help on?
And that's one of the things I think. I mean, the more we can have a deputy in the city, the more deterrent we have, so we don't have to worry about the crime.
And maybe they can say, hey, we can do this, putting up the speed thing to help reduce it, or any ideas they've seen other towns employ to reduce, maybe to get rid of drifting, like I was going to ask him, it's like, oh, we see the reasons of drifting. It's like, well, what are you doing to curb it? So, but anyway, that's kind of where there's really no option to not do this. I guess I'm making a motion, we go ahead and approve it, but also gather, maybe it's the public safety part of the committee, or that's the one you're on, just to like spearhead, what are the things we really care about? We have 170 ordinances, but we don't want them to need them to help on all of them, but find out which ones they are. And
well, see, that's the thing too, is like our ordinances are different than Collins and Colo.
But I think,
and so for a deputy to have to know that, well, I'm in this city, so this ordinance applies, but it doesn't apply in this city.
They can check on their phone, it's all available.
But they're not going to pull into each city and go, okay, now what ordinances do I need?
But if there's and there's general things to the state of Iowa and for Story County that they should know, that we also have in our ordinance.
Second. We're discussing.
Discussion.
Melissa Mattingly is no longer the city clerk in Maxwell, so that would just have to be changed.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you hear me?
She see that, Wendy?
Wendy?
Last page of the contract.
Yeah, page 54, got Melissa on there.
Melissa Matty.
Oh. Yeah, sure does.
Okay.
Who had the motion?
Very.
Did I have a motion?
Yeah, I have a motion to
I have a
approve.
You have a second.
You
I
said,
second it, just so we can talk.
So, sounds like we will need an amended motion if we're going to approve this contract. As the name on the contract is, well,
You wanna amend that?
Oh, to change the name?
yeah,
Yeah, move to, amend the,
that's a motion for the proper city clerk.
yep,
Thank you.
motion, yep.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Deb?
Yeah.
Sue?
No.
Joel?
yes.
Ken?
No.
Perry? Yes. Motion carries. On to,
Can I just point out real quick that hopefully if somebody that's very interested in being on the Board of Supervisors on the eastern side of the county that might be around and listening to this conversation, to take this into consideration for maybe.
Point of consideration.
oh, yeah.
Elective office supervisors have two levers to pull, and that would be the total dollars budgeted and the total employees operating within it, and after that, it's a step back. Have you guys ever thought about on negotiations asking to have deputies live here in your town? The guy that I replaced who passed away, I used to ride with him in the late 70s and early 80s, and John Stark put his officers, less road officers than they got now, in the communities. It was part of employment. If you want to talk about a deterrent, put a sheriff's deputy car somewhere in your town.
Mm-hmm.
I will
I know
tell you,
the city-
There is a police car that sits in town quite often.
They got that, but the thing is,
But the problem is you live way out
I know.
there and nobody sees your car.
I will tell you how the negotiations go. It's no.
you
On
should have,
anything I
have
ask
been-
for, and
I have had negotiations that I was hearing Rick Sanders yell at him, and next time my phone rang, it was him going like, well, you know what Sanders said, what are you gonna do? And the thing is, can we just, Nick Lang is your up and coming. And I would tell you what, he's a good man, and I think that maybe you might have more inclined to hear, but on a supervisor basis, we can only do so much. And the thing is, they've always,
it's a dependent elected office.
you and I can have a quiet conversation on what my experience was while watching that take place, but I think the reason you're smiling is because you already know what I'm probably gonna say. Okay.
You bet.
Yeah.
I know that city of Rhinebeck has, I bet, 3 deputy sheriffs that live within 3 blocks of each other. When I drive through town, I see cars.
So where I work every day, there's actually a deputy that lives across the street. The chief of police owns the house right next door to the school, and his son just got hired as a deputy in Marshall County. And then I just had a trooper move in across the street. So now there's like 5 squad cars that sit there on a regular basis within a block.
One good neighborhood.
And that's not all of them. We've got several others that live in town. But,
And even White Oak has a highway patrolman lives there.
Would he like a part-time job?
All right. We're going to move on to discussion and possible action of Resolution 2026-05, a resolution authorizing signatures for the City of Maxwell's bank accounts.
I so move.
second.
Further discussion? Sue?
Yes.
Doug?
I guess.
Joel?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
Ken?
Yep.
Discussion and possible action on Resolution 2026-07, a resolution amending the hourly wage of the city clerk.
Make a motion to approve the open discussion.
Second.
Further discussion?
What is the current wage?
25.
25 and 50? Yep.
25.50.
I just want y'all to know, it took a lot of time. Took a lot of time and effort to hire a city clerk, and the less time and effort I have to put into that again, the better off I will be. And Wendy does a wonderful job for us, and she is learning every day, and she is going out and receiving additional trainings where available, and at low and reduced costs for said trainings.
Being new to this role, I mean, Wendy and Carrie's responsiveness has been, I guess, over the top, maybe almost, I need to quit asking questions type of thing. So I did have a whole page of questions for the materials, and I reconsidered, like, wait a minute, I don't need to know this today. So
Thank you.
I know I need to be better at asking those questions at the right time, but most of them are budget related. So I just really appreciated the responsiveness. Now I have nothing to measure that against. I did look at the requirements for the job, and those are laid out here in the further pages here. I see her addressing all of those things, and okay, that's me, you know, coming from a background. Okay, are you meeting expectations? And this is the rate signed up for. Is there things in there to exceed expectations? Probably not, just based on experience. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I'm kind of leaning more towards. Being in the budget process, we haven't really budgeted for more, but I would like to see something, you know, whatever everybody else throws out there, but I'm kind of more amenable to some kind of something of a spot award program, or maybe see what the end of the year budget looks like. And I don't know if bonuses or anything like that are part of a government entity, but I would like to approach it more on that way, and then set the per hour as we go through the budgeting process for the next year, along with all of the salaries, to see how everything shakes out. But that's kind of where I'm at.
So I have a little information on that. So we're in fiscal 2026, which we completed this budget process in 2025. At that time, our city clerk was 32, Wendy. So our budgeted amount for that for fiscal 26 is 32 an hour for the entire year. On top of that, at that point in time, I'd asked the finance committee then to develop a pay scale for the employees, and I asked for that because it assists immensely in budgeting. When you know where the top and where the bottom is of a pay scale, budgeting just becomes substantially easier. It also becomes substantially easier to identify where the raises will be, where they will be over a period of time, what the extended costs are. What we've been doing since I've been here is that once a year we look at budget, we throw a little more money at it, and we just keep on going, and we don't really ever stop. So there's no top out. However, that doesn't mean that the scale can't be extended. It just has to be extended through council action. So by setting a scale and having something to start with, then the future councils would have that ability to adjust and modify as needed.
Could that be similar to what, like with Scott, when he took the extra classes and he had an increase, with that same type of thing with Wendy learning and completing things, then that would...
If you would ask me, you would include all of those considerations considerations into a pay scale for every city employee.
Well, rather than some of the other incentives that are there, I think that would be a more fair comparison for every employee.
I can tell you it'll make it a lot easier for me to identify who's getting what when,
Mm-hmm.
rather than somebody else telling me, well, we were supposed to get this, and
Yeah.
me having to go look for it.
Simplify the whole process.
Because it's laid out in a grid.
Mm-hmm. I did payroll for years.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that Budget Committee could work on as to what the rules and regulations should be
Not a
for
budget.
incentive?
It's not a budget committee action because the budget committee is just working on the budget. It is a finance committee or a government operations committee that can put that together and bring it back to the council for approval and review.
So, can we do that?
Sure can.
Okay, Mayor. Recommend.
We currently have a motion on the table for approval of the resolution. So right now, this is just a discussion of that. So if there is a
Right here, do we have that?
request or a change, then that would have to be added to
So
the
we really
council
can't, we
meeting.
really can't approve it right now because it has blank space on it that we have to figure out first.
Yep.
So,
And if I remember right, last month, I threw a figure out there of $30. But I couldn't do anything about it that month.
right. So, who made the motion?
Perry made the motion.
I mean,
Perry would just need to
Yeah,
modify
just
his
need to-
motion to fill in the blank. If he so chose.
Make a motion to approve, the resolution here for the hourly wage, with an amended amount of, I'm going to propose $28 per hour.
Does your second still stand?
So we can discuss that, yeah.
Good.
So my discussion is $29.77 is just the amount, average of just those 7 per hour, figures that you have there, Doug. Is that right?
The 7 city clerks?
This was Wendy's.
Or Wendy? So the $29.77, it was the average of just the 7 per hour ones, okay? So, the average of, salaries, if you take that and divide that by, I'm just saying, 2,040 hours, is $41. So then, if I add that to the 29.77 plus, or,
I think there's an experience factor here, not to minimize what Wendy does, but if I was city clerk in Collins and been here 6.5 years,
divide that by 13, that average becomes 42.77.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none at this time, we have a motion. A second. Sue?
Question. Does the cost of living go into any of this? Because that's the way a lot of people are paid, according to cost of living and increases and that.
Cost of living was already factored into the 2026 budget, as
Okay.
well as her merit. This is a resolution amending the hourly wage.
And just to add to that, what I was saying is, we provide no health insurance, no stipend.
No other benefits, except for EAP.
Right. No, yeah, that's cheap. Doesn't feel good about ourselves.
Yep.
And the motion is,
$28.
And my basis is really a 10%, kind of where I came up with that,
that's where you came up
on the
with.
2550.
Yes.
Doug?
Yeah.
Joe?
No.
Ken?
No.
Perry? The motion carries. On to discussion and possible, hold on, I'm already done with that one. Discussion and possible action of resolution 2026-11, a resolution authorizing contracted budget assistance for the city clerk. Wendy?
Yes, I was approved $13,000 for training support. The consultant that was training me has had a stroke and has had some health problems, so I haven't had as much help as I would like for my first budget. And with the loss of Steve, and no one else to help me, I would like a little bit of support. Melissa helped with the budget last year. She's very knowledgeable. She said she's pretty much done with hers and Roland is offered to help. Money's already earmarked, all of it would be budget related, so.
So what she's saying here is that we, as a council at one point, this fiscal year, authorized $13,000 in training services, to at which point she has used $850 because the person that we contracted to train had a stroke. So we still have roughly $11,000, $12,000 left of that budget, of that allocated amount for training. And she wants some help from our previous temporary clerk from the city of Roland, who came down here and assisted our city in a time of need, and she had the expertise and the ability to train. So
We also have two very qualified money people here that might be able to help out.
Do we need to reauthorize that? Did we specify that person that is no longer available?
I believe that that resolution was indicated on that person. Wendy?
That's kind
Because
of
if not,
Then
we can just let it roll.
Right.
This is me.
Did we name it? I couldn't remember.
This is me asking this to come back to council because the council should be aware of what transpired. That's why this is in front of you again.
I think there's a lot of resources. Melissa, obviously, she's familiar with it, but I think there's other, and with the whole Iowa League of Cities, there's a lot. Do we have to name someone? Can we just say, hey, 13,000 for, and make it a little bit, if Melissa has that expertise, and maybe that's all we need is Melissa, but hey, but she's not available, so I can call Susan in Cambridge or something like that. So.
The issue is when you just start calling random city clerks, your information data set goes down. Your ability to count on and rely on somebody goes down. So when you contract a specific individual for a set dollar amount, then you assure what you were going to get for those dollar amounts. The League of Cities is great, don't get me wrong. Very generalized, very open-ended, very no decision-making going on there, and the clerks are responsible for a lot of decisions.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Perry?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yep.
Joel?
Yes.
Discussion and possible action on the Baldwin Street project budget overage of $14,000. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring the council on board and let them know what is going on.
Yep. So I had a conversation with the mayor the other day just on the engineering and observation services for the Baldwin Street project. So one of the things that we do when we're working through these projects is we'll identify along the way things that were not in our original scope or agreement that
that we were asked to do or needed to do. And most of the time, we try and mark those, but then hopefully get them underneath our original budget amount, just being optimistic. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And unfortunately, we're at that point in this one where it didn't happen. Some of the things that were out of scope were there was some redesign, not redesign, but there was some design of a water main extension. When we found that the services down Fifth didn't have a good main, so we helped along with that. There was some sewer conflict issues. I believe was one of them. I meant to print that out, those letters I sent you, Dale, but then I think there was should have printed that. There's a third one. I can get these to you and so everybody council knows. But one of the bigger ones was the extended construction.
We have the retaining wall design.
Oh yeah, a little bit of retaining. Those are all pretty minor ones. The bigger one was the
water main and
the water main
fire hydrant.
But didn't we add 8 to 10 days to compensate for that?
Right.
On
So,
an item by item basis?
Right, yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so our services took longer than we had originally planned, so that always costs money. And the intent of the liquidated damages is to cover some of that. I mean, that's why, that's a cost to you, that's what the LDs are for.
That's what this 14,000 is.
Yep.
This is liquidated.
About half of what it should be.
This is liquidated.
I'm serious as can be.
No, this is where we are over a project budget, which is 14,000.
14 is just what we're over.
Yeah.
So, and I can provide later as we get going, to formalize this, if the council agrees to it, kind of break that out, what those additional costs were. My expectation is additional costs are actually more than that, because we were able to have some efficiencies and stay in our budget on other things, but that's where we're staying that overage to date. We do know that, there's a net deduct on the overall construction contract, so what we had originally budgeted, we're not going to use all of that, just because the quantities get adjusted at the end of the project, and then the LD's determination as we come out. So we understand the position the city's in and tight budgets and everything. We hope that there's agreement with the services that we provide add value to the city. So we haven't pushed on those. We've been floating those for a while, but talking with Dale, as we get things closed out and if you got it done with the DOT, find out what those final numbers are going to be, we would respectfully request the city consider an amendment to our services to help cover some of the overage for those additional items that we did along the way to get to the end. So it's just letting you know where we're at. Like I said, Dale and I talked the other day. We're not invoicing those. We're just sitting on them right now.
But they had 75 days to start with. We deducted all the rain days and anything else that was weather related. They acknowledged that they were at least 20 days over. I've got that in writing, and I think everybody has that. I counted a whole bunch more with pictures and sent it to the council or the city clerk, and I was in the upper 30s for total days that they were over. They said, oh no, we weren't here that day. Well, I've got a picture of a semi sitting on the street there. I've got a picture of a backhoe. They said they weren't here. I'm going to have a tough time settling on 14 days, basically.
Is that what the final one was, or was it 21, I thought?
They were 20 or 21, they acknowledged.
Okay, I thought that's where we ended up, but I don't remember.
Have they confirmed that? Have they done anything with that?
No, they haven't, and that's one of the things we're waiting on, and that's one of the things that the DOT had been sitting on their, starting of their audit, until they had that final change order and everything agreed to. They have not responded to that, they've been slow, it's not been a priority for them. We're still sitting on retainage that we haven't paid them, in the tune of a couple $100,000, I believe.
Do we have that much? Okay.
Yeah, so that's 60 something. Yeah, something like that. So
all right.
that's our levers.
Right.
That retainage is intended to help them finish that out. So if they're not moving, they're not moving. The DOT has agreed to start their audit without that agreement, but eventually we're going to have to get the agreement or come to some other conclusion. But yes, that's all part of that mix.
All right.
Not resolved.
Well, I see 14,000. I'm thinking they're just talking.
Yes. No.
This
is just purely our agreement with you guys. I was just letting Dale know, and they want to be transparent with you guys, and I agreed. So,
are they paying the extra time you had to put in since this took over a year instead of
3 months, just
So-
done the end of November?
They're not paying us directly, but that would be part of
They're
the,
gonna deduct that then?
well, so what we typically do is our agreement is with you guys. And so if we incur extra charges, you guys incur extra charges because it goes long,
Uh-huh.
then that's the purpose of the liquidated damages, to cover those costs. Because liquidated damages can't be penalized, they can't be a penal, they can't be a punishment. They have to be damages the city specifically or generally incurred in that cost. So they're to cover costs that the city had to incur over and above what they would have expected. So what the city charges them in liquidated damages, then go to offset the costs you incurred, which would include your legal time, the city clerk has to mess with it, and then our time as well. So this factors into that, it'd be a part of that, just a small part. So nothing to act on this one right now. We'll keep monitoring it. We want to get this closed out. Get everybody signed on the dotted line, and then we'll come with it, but we want to make sure you're aware of it. We've been tracking it in our progress reports to you, and I can, when we get to
July
that
8th
point.
will be 2 years.
Yeah, that's too long, but when we get to that point, we'll revisit it again, just so you guys are aware of it. We'll provide more information and background, and we can have a longer discussion about it.
All right.
I've requested data and information as well for potential turnover to the city attorney.
Okay.
All right, anything else on that? Any other questions, concerns?
In the future, Doug said that they're here, they're not here, and they said they're not here, whatever. When we have somebody like that working in town for that type of project, is there any way that the city guy can keep track of that, when they're here, when they're not here? I mean, then you have, hey, I came in here, I seen them at 8:30, and they
But
said
should
they
they
weren't.
have to? I volunteered my time
You
without.
volunteered your time,
But like
but I
Wes
mean,
said, his time and his accounting was accurate and sufficient.
I've got
that we can
rainfall every day.
represent
yeah,
his
So, I
time
mean,
and his
but
efforts.
in the,
So.
in the
I
future,
don't
I mean,
disagree.
we got somebody that can do that without having to,
But that takes away from what other things are getting done.
it only takes 5 minutes.
It doesn't work that way.
Hindsight being 20/20 in the future, I agree with you, Ken.
Yeah.
So obviously during
I
the construction, we had an observer here
yeah,
that was monitoring the construction. The challenge was, once we were down to that punch list item, and it was not an everyday thing, we don't want to spend on your guys' budget just to run up here every day and not have anything going on. So we did our best to keep up with getting updates from them when they're working, but if they don't tell us they're here. So I think looking forward, and this is a lesson learned for me on other projects, in situations like that where you have staff in town, we can help train Tony, your staff, as to what constitutes a day, what kind of records we need to be kept, and use in-town staff to help document that clearly and factually, and then that can get approved. So I think there's some coordination that could be improved on in the future.
Pictures don't lie.
Well, yeah, pictures and documents that we can stick in the file.
Well,
Yeah.
Spencer did a weekly setup with them.
Mhm.
Every week there was a report that was
Yep.
put together, and whether they were here or not, and I disagreed with several of them and let Spencer know to put it back through and say, hey, they were here
Yeah.
that day, June 42nd. So,
And there's requirements on what constitutes a day too.
I understand that.
Yeah, but that's things that we can work with your guys' staff and people in town to help us when this gets to that table.
well, we never want to get in a situation like this
No,
again.
no, we don't. No. Yeah, ideally, just have it done on time. but
Yeah.
Things outside of our control.
Was that asking too much?
thank you.
Thank you. All right, discussion possible action on the 2025, fiscal 2025 audit results and auditor recommendations.
Steve?
So in here, I'm not looking at the I need to, I don't see my notes in there. You have them. They're in there?
I have them.
Page 90, or you have them?
No, I just have them.
Okay. So we went through piece by piece. There's nothing outstanding in here that wasn't either indicated in the previous or that wasn't a simple error. Part of those errors came from a loss of conducive clerk to clerk.
Right.
And many of the issues have been rectified. So my recommendations, I don't have any additional recommendations that I haven't already addressed with the city clerk. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Well, in dealing with auditors over the years, they're gonna find something.
That's their job, and that's why we.
No question about it.
That's what we want them to do.
Yeah, and we hope it's the big stuff.
There's nothing in here that I am concerned about.
I prefer they find the small stuff and then they quit digging.
Yeah.
So,
I want them to find anything. I want them to find any discrepancies that indicate that we aren't doing what we're supposed to be. So, if there was something in here that led me to that, then I would already have addressed it, but I don't have anything. So.
and I didn't see anything in there that really jumped out as a big problem, so.
Yeah. As an auditor.
Yep.
I would like to see, and I appreciate they've been addressed. We often see, we addressed it. I'm glad you did, but what are you gonna do to make sure it doesn't happen again? And I think that is something that should be amended to this to show our diligence. Not only did we fix it, like, I don't know what the action is taken, but for example, okay, we filed those minutes, and it's like, okay, great, but what's going to stop it from showing up? Because when I look back to 2024, same stuff. That doesn't reflect real well. You want to, show due diligence. So I would like to see some commentary added. Not only what did you fix, but what did you do to make sure it doesn't happen again. Separation of duties is near and dear to my heart. There are options there. It's not easy with a small staff, but it can be done. Some of the things I thought were very good in that, when you're approving things, make sure you're approving everything, that you have everything before you. And that's the essence here. Something's off $100, it could be 1,000 one way and 900 the other way. So, I think it would be worthwhile to put that commentary in there. And I'm certainly, that's part of the betterment, which includes the finance, to sit down and, say, hey, work with Wendy and after budgets. That's number one right now. But put something together to say, how can we improve that? And it's going to be involved some of the signatory. What are you looking at when you're signing things? So, but if we can kind of capture what's been done, I think that'd be great for further.
Absolutely.
Well, I know I kind of looked at where one of them said the meeting minutes weren't being signed, and so that's one of the things I turned back and looked, is does she have her signature block on here so that it maybe reminds her to sign it,
just little things.
So, and it was already there, and I'm like, okay, they fixed that part now, but,
I think it's...
And then some of it could be also that with our changing clerk in that time frame, that maybe our previous clerk didn't have something signed, it was sitting on the pile to be signed, and she had planned on doing it the next day when she came into work, and she didn't make it to work. So is that why it's not signed? So,
it really just kind of, it should survive person to person, so.
So is that your motion to refer the audit back to the Finance Committee for further review of policy change?
Yes. Plus, I don't know where it belongs, capture what's already been done.
Okay.
Yep.
Second.
Further discussion?
Do we normally send back a report to the auditors saying that this is how we fix things? Okay. I just thought.
And we have it on record to show them, like, hey, we're taking what you're saying through.
Wendy has my copy of the things that we've addressed.
Perfect.
it had to go back to the auditor to show,
The auditor,
you're right, we got this
the auditor
issue.
points out the results, and then they share them with the state, so.
Okay, good.
All right, Ken? Sue?
Now you're voting on this?
For approving the audit?
Yeah,
Setting the audit.
we are reverting it back to the, finance committee for review of the conditions and to ensure that we have policy that ensures that it doesn't continue, and then a review of the situations that have already been fixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and Joel?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
And Doug?
Yes.
Discussion of possible action on scheduling the public hearing for the proposed property tax rate levy and the public hearing for final 2027 budget. We should probably push this because we are not quite there yet with our budget. Very likely we can review this next month, so.
Make a motion, we look at it.
Okay.
So we gotta wait for a second before I can discuss. So, all right, I'll make the second so we can discuss it.
Further discussion?
So this says that the submission of the proposed tax rate form to Department of Management is due March 5th. We don't have another meeting until after that date, so do we have to do this before?
We meet next week.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Well, we got budget.
Yeah, budget workshop.
So we're gonna add it onto the budget, okay.
We wanna add that to the budget workshop? There we go. So amended to budget workshop?
Yep, amended the budget workshop.
Okay.
The
Do
second?
you still second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Ken?
Yeah.
Perry?
Yep.
Doug?
Yeah.
Joel?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Department reports. Engineer?
All right. 3 pages this time, I'm just gonna type points as usual. Storm outlet project update, they're done with the tree clearing, if you haven't noticed. The construction's just waiting for weather convenience, the contractor scheduling, so, in fact, I just received some emails here while we were sitting here that, he's gonna let us know when he thinks that's gonna be, so we'll let you guys know that, but it's, probably gonna be soon with the nicer weather turning.
It's gonna have to be, right?
It's gonna have to be soon, yeah.
Because you had to have it done before April.
Tree clearing had to be done before March, but that's done.
Okay.
I think the contract has to before June.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just,
But, he understands, I've had a conversation, he understands that it's also subject to wet seasons, and if the creek comes up, you're not doing anything anyway. So,
okay.
he needs to capitalize on every good day that he can, and he knows that, so.
Very good.
We did do a post survey, he did a post survey after the trees were cleared, because the design was based on LiDAR contours, which can have some error in them. So he wanted to do a post survey of the existing before he starts cutting and doing grading, because our quantities are based on a quantity excavation for payment. LiDAR's pretty close, about 20% discrepancy, a little bit high. So if we adjust the quantities based on that, it's like a $1,500 difference. So not a lot. But he'll do another survey. He's going to do it, not his best. He's going to do another one after we're done, and then we'll fix count on what the numbers are. But pretty close. Kind of happy to see that, because you never know what the LiDAR is. It could be way off. It could be pretty close. So, no other big updates on the rest of the Bolton Street. Other than that, still kind of the same thing we talked about. Rocky Bridge, this stuff is still there. There's still some construction yet to do, the pavement for the streets. They did submit a street lighting plan that we received last week, so that's one thing that's required by ordinance for them to submit. So they did that, and so we'll be getting that back to us. It looks okay, there's not much to it. And they submitted a bunch of the required paperwork too, that we requested. The bonds are coming. We've got the warranties and their whole list. They just submitted a lot of that, so it's good to see that. Last last month, I think it was a couple months ago, the council asked, on some typical, development review fees. We were talking about that a little bit on charging those back to the contractors, or back to the developers, sorry. There's discussion about if that should be incorporated into a standard fee, what other communities are doing. So I reached out and got some feedback from others in our office that do similar services like I do for you guys to other communities. Feedback across the board, the strongest feedback was it's really hard to put cost to those. And we mentioned this, but it depends on the complication, the complexity of the development, what the review takes, if you're going back 4 times with something versus 1 time back. A lot of the communities, the larger communities that we do reviews for, they bill what it takes, and that's what they set up. One guy did note that, asked the question, well, okay, how do you enforce that? He said, we build a city, they build a developer, and then the city doesn't approve or accept or provide certificate of occupancies on the project until the developer pays the bill. So speaking of levers, that's what they do. I don't know if we do certificate of occupancies in our ordinance. I don't know, but that is one way you could have a leverage.
Yep.
However, there was one community where they do provide an estimated range on projects, and he provided some good information that I'll get summarized and get an email to you on the different, they kind of break it down into typical ranges, and then they update it for that particular project, depending on who the developer is, whether they're a sophisticated developer or a newbie, because that can make a difference, past histories, complexity of the project, and they update it. But they give them a range, so like preliminary plats, for instance, range, 6,000 to 10,000 to review a pre-plat. Construction drawings, they range 3,300 to 12,000. Final plat ranges 6,000 to 7,000, and construction phase services have a range there too, but that's a pretty big range. So it depends on the hours. But they have a couple other things too, traffic studies and neighborhood sketches, things that we don't really do here. But so those are kind of some of the ranges, which if you look at what we've got in ours is within those ranges. It's a lot, but it's still within the ranges of what others are seeing. So thank you. So I'll get that summarized into you so you'll have that information. If you want to set up a set fee or provide a range to the developer when they're looking at, have those conversations early, then you can make sure they're aware of it with help.
Yep. The next one.
Yeah, the next one. Zoning map. We did get the updated zoning GIS database to the Story County to get incorporated into the Beacon website. So hopefully that will be popping up here soon. I did bring some hard copies, a large hard copy and some small hard copies for you guys here. So if you want, like paper, like I do sometimes still. You got those, I'll leave them with Wendy. I also sent a PDF of that to PND. So I should have that. Hopefully, if you do see any, so we did our best to get those updated with the recent changes based on what Steve had provided for us. If you do see something that's an error or you question, just let me know. We had to do some more updating than I thought because the old survey, or the old database was based on the old partial mapping. Story County did some tweaks to their datum, and so the lines weren't lining up. But it should all be good now, so future tweaks should be quick and easy. Baldwin Street, North Baldwin Street going north out of town. Last council there was some discussion on the condition of that area. I'm still researching some patching options for the failing pavement. And then when those people get back to me, I'll get you summarized on that.
I wanted to add something. I happened to be driving by the DOT maintenance shop up there on Highway 30 and dropped in and just actually saw them doing cold patch out on Highway 30.
Yeah.
And one of the opinions, we don't like to put cold patch in because it comes right back out.
Yeah.
But if cars are hitting it and bouncing into the ditch, we better do something. So are we approaching that over here? It's debatable. Yes, I think that's a decision. I'd like to kind of see, if Tony can talk with, I got a contact. It's like best to wait till you can do a hot patch?
Well, even hot patches, if you're just filling the hole,
Yep.
it feathers on the edges and it's not gonna last, it's a temporary fix. Full patch is more temporary than a hot patch, but they're still all temporary. What we were looking at is if there was something a little bit more long-term, like a full depth or partial depth patch, that would be less than a full reconstruction like we did on the south section, but might gain us a few more years until maybe the county does their piece all the way down.
He said you can get up to about 2 to 3 years on his temporary patch.
Yeah.
On a cold, I'm like, well, seriously, come do mine, so. But
Yeah, and it all depends on your traffic count and
That's right. I just thought,
location, yeah.
I'm gonna get out of the middle, but this is a Tony and him kind of
Yeah,
discussion.
certainly pursue that, and
Yeah.
have Tony pursue that, definitely.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Update on the TEEP study, draft report should be going to the DOT very soon. I did ask him, I haven't heard back yet if that's going to go to you guys first before it goes to DOT, or if he sends drafts to both people. I listed some recommendations that they're putting in there. If you haven't looked at those, look at those, make sure those match up with what you're expecting, because they are recommending to consolidate some school crossings.
So how about, we saw the DOT is starting their phase project of the sidewalks on 210. They've already started reaching out to businesses.
Okay.
One of them,
Two plans yet?
I haven't seen plans, but one of them addresses one of our crosswalks.
Well, that was one of the things that when we got the early concept plans, one of the things we said was we need to make sure that it matches with these or we're not doubling up.
Yep.
So, and I passed those original plans on to the TEEP study guy.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that both hands are talking to each other.
Well, we're talking to our hand, but we haven't heard anything from the other side, so,
They just sent out a new update on it today.
oh, did they?
Yeah, like
Okay.
4:30 today.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No, that works. I was done already, so. All right, so we'll look into that and take a look at those. But if you look at those consolidations, and we'll look into with respect to the DOT sidewalk project, and see if there's any impacts there.
So they were looking at taking 3rd and Main, consolidating 4th Street, crossing to this location based on the existing sidewalk connectivity to the school. In other words, eliminating the 4th Street crossing at Main Street from the school route, and then the same up on Metcalf and 5th, and consolidating the Maxwell Woodlawn to that Maxwell, or Metcalf.
Because there's sidewalk that goes all the way down to the school.
Yes.
So Metcalf would be the one they're keeping.
That would be the
Metcalf,
primary.
yeah.
Yep. And then 3rd and Main.
This is,
That tree needs to come out at 6th and 5th and Maxwell. 5th and Metcalf.
Not the time for it. You can address it later. Please.
It's, you can't see around it though, and if that's gonna be school crossing.
We're not discussing that right now. Please wait until it's your turn.
so on this email that they sent out, the sidewalk project, they attached the latest plan set and included a layout with notes for additional sidewalk along the east side of Maxwell. With the existing school crossing signs and painted crosswalk, it's recommended to include this walk to complete the route to the school.
So it looks like they might be adding the sidewalk, that we were gonna move it because the sidewalk wasn't there.
Yep.
So that being the case, I will make sure to get this to the TEEP guy tomorrow morning first thing.
Very good.
East side of Maxwell where?
East side of
Especially
Maxwell.
the TEEP
Oh,
the
so
sidewalk, yeah.
east side of Maxwell.
Exactly.
Estimated additional cost to include this work, $8,500.
Or they want us to pay.
They want us to pay for it.
Yeah, there's the future.
So what block are they looking, did they indicate? I haven't opened that one yet.
I'm not sure what.
What do you need?
Yeah, right there. 5th and Maxwell.
And Maxwell.
Right in front
Right
of,
north of Steve's house.
right in front of 429.
So that was one of the main points that the community visioning envisioned, that should have been a crosswalk because of the location.
Okay, so
But I thought they were making the one at Metcalf to make.
No, that's what TEEP is asking for, but we'll have to see what they want to,
Okay.
they
cross.
So they're on an agreement
each other
there.
and
Okay.
Try to get them on the
Okay.
same page. Yeah. And we had some other comments on the plans too, that we'll take a look at, make sure everything's agreement. Okay. Water treatment plant, discharge, pump station, corresponding with the DNR on some questions for the permit on that here the last couple weeks. This is the backwash filter pump station, project. So DOT has taken their time on the construction permit, but we haven't moved on the project yet either, so, but the permit for the construction should be coming soon, which is our last hurdle on our side before we bid the project. So, we'd be available to bid anytime. Initially we're looking to bid this winter, late winter, for construction to start summer. So I think it was kind of back in County Court for the final funding, determination. We're using SRF loan program for it. Just need to go from you guys on setting the bid date, and we can help schedule that and get it out there. Just need to know the dates and make sure the funding's in place. If we bid this year, start June, we probably have a completion date end of the year, October for substantial in place. That would give us just under a year before we have our compliance deadline of August of 27. Make sure everything's running. So
may or may not be enough time.
But we haven't do it.
It's got to be similar to the pheasant ballroom project. But you never know. But yeah, it's some leeway. Although the DNR is always good, if something comes up that's out of your control. During COVID, we had supply issues, and we just let them know, and they said, okay, that's not a big deal.
So once we get the permit back, Finance Committee can review with Tiona in regards to...
I would go ahead and review with Finance Committee, review with Tiona, get it set up. The permit will come. It is coming.
We're meeting with her next Wednesday, I believe.
Yep.
Add this to that agenda, please.
Okay. And then once let me know that you got funding in place, you're ready to go, then I can start providing you with some scheduling for bidding.
Sounds good.
Get that set up.
Thank you. Speaking of DNR, did you see the other reports that we got on the wastewater plant?
I did not. The survey report, standard survey?
Wendy, can you help me with what that's report?
They inspected it.
It was an inspection.
Field office did their inspection. Okay.
And they had a couple recommendations.
Okay. Yeah, if you want me to take a look at it, I can.
Yeah, sure.
Put it on. Even if you want me to look at it, send it to me anyway, and I'll stick it in the file. It's always good to know that stuff, but yeah. A lot of times there's not a lot to do on this major, but.
I just wanted to review. I got Tony working on what he can work on. And
Perfect. The rest of the stuff's just no hold. Things are still in works or on hold. Our 26 agreement's the one that should have hold on it, but doesn't yet. We'll get on to that one. We'll expect that one as a priority last month. Any questions for me?
thank you, Wes. All right. Council mayor comments. I'm going to move Perry to A based on seating position. Sorry, Perry.
We already spoke about the Baldwin Street north of what we've already paid, so it's just moving on that. Yeah, I don't really have, and we already talked about the notification, so those are probably the main things right now. So I've just been corresponding with Wendy a little bit about always looking for revenue opportunities. I was asking, just seeing the balance or the revenue coming from the communications tower. It's like, do we have an agreement for that? And she's kind of looking into that, but if different providers are wanting that tower, it's like, I don't know how we go about getting, can we get not 10,000 but 20,000? I don't know what that right number is. So that's just a thought I had out there. It's like if anybody knows anything there to pursue, just with the budget season, it's like, is that another opportunity for us to increase the revenue on something that we don't really have to lift a finger other than change that piece? And then the other thing was we talked about with Tiona.
I think that might be like a 20-year agreement on those communication towers.
Yeah, it expired in 10.
They usually forever.
So, yeah. And then the farmland over here by I don't know that we're ever collecting and whether we want to collect any, cash rent on those I don't know how many acres are over there that are being farmed, so that's come up a few
That
years
was
ago.
in the original agreement.
What, yeah,
Over by the treatment plant is part of ours that, is being farmed.
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
That was,
I don't know what that little bit is, or if we're talking 3 acres, 5 acres, but, yeah.
that was part of the original agreement, wasn't it?
That's it, Wills.
that's the area. What part,
I think there's like 3 acres that the city owns,
Mhm.
that treatment plant. Several years ago, there was discussion on an agreement for leasing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay.
It'd be a great place for solar.
Let's not know about it. Yeah, good discussion piece for later. Yep. Thank you. Sue?
The bits of Metcalf tree, if you're talking consolidating the crossings, Maxwell and Woodlawn over to, Metcalf and Fifth, that tree has created problems for years and years and years, and particularly if you're gonna have that the main crossing for the school, that tree blocks the view from any traffic coming from the west.
Where's the tree at?
Fifth and Metcalf.
Northwest
On
corner
the-
of that intersection.
Yeah, the northwest corner. It's been a problem for years. Well, and if the kids are at the corner and being kids,
They're at the corner, they're
It's
beyond
not-
the tree. There's a block there in the middle. You can look before you get to the tree, and you
But
can
then
still
you're
be
blocked.
safely in the there's a little blockage out in
Yeah.
the tree, but once they get beyond that, they can see both east and west.
I'm just worried about kids playing on the way to school and all of that and not seeing what they need to see.
Talking about the tree on the north side?
Yeah, northwest corner.
Well, if you guys wanna pay to get rid of it, that's our tree, so.
Yeah, it is.
Since it's a state highway, is that any different? No?
But I know it's been hit lightning or whatever winds several times, and it's,
The issue is that our tree guidance doesn't allow us to just randomly take down a tree, except for if the tree is dead, dying, diseased, or a public,
it is a hazard.
hazard. It is not on the corner of the intersection like the last tree that was removed, based on the fact that that was in the public right of way and in the corner of an intersection, obstructing view. So, if you guys just start to determine it, and you want to add it to a council meeting, for next month, feel free to shoot me an
Head
email.
south on Metcalf and take a look. And you can
Feel free to
see.
shoot me an email. We can add it to a council agenda so you guys can take action on it.
Sounds like you've been down this road before, but yeah, who makes that determination it's an obstruction or not?
Council.
Is it just council? Okay, there's no particular parameters. Okay.
Anything else, Sue?
Let me look at my list here. Okay. The tree dump, open on weekends, why is the gate open all the time, and did we ever get the fence taken care of? We were talking about wires running along the street there, where we have to do that. Has anything been done on that?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't been down there since last summer, so I'll drive down there and take a look.
Yeah, but on the weekends, it's open all the time and the gates,
Okay, I'll address that with you guys.
okay, that's,
I think it's our buried cable people leaving it open.
and where
Is that
can I,
Stream? Or other guys?
Well, the guy's named Stevenson is the one that's doing burying Huxcom
Okay.
stuff.
oh, I just had something else here.
trouble with extra dumping? Is this gonna get?
Yeah, there's been reports of that.
There has been? 'Cause I haven't heard anything.
Oh, well, then you just didn't listen at the right time, Dale.
But are they getting to the city then?
No, but there have been incidents of bags of things thrown in there, and
That's why we started locking it.
yeah,
What
I mean,
are you talking about something recent? Or are you talking about in the past?
within the last 6 months, if this has been going on, the bags of things have been thrown in there and dumping that shouldn't have been. And I'm just wondering, since the DNR said we had to lock up everything and have the fence, why is it not done?
Okay. Anything else?
I had one other note here. Oh. No, that's okay, go ahead.
Is it paper bags that we
No.
sell?
No, big black plastic bags and,
Garbage bags.
oh, I know what it was. The grade on the streets where there's been water problems. I looked in the ordinance book and it said that the record should be at City Hall. Well, I called up and I was told that they didn't have it here, that it isn't kept at City Hall. Who has a record of the street grades?
There's no street grade records. There is street development records, and they're in this file right here. If you look through anything that you want, they're not going to identify or indicate the amount of extra asphalt that's been dumped on a road or chip seal over the last 65 years, since 70 years
Yeah.
since the road was paved. So,
Well, I was wondering, thinking about the water problems, not just on my street, but all the way along in there and other places too. And I wanted to see what the grade was, over the years. And they said it's not here.
well, part of that is you got to remember that this town was developed on gravel roads. It was developed on dirt paths. It wasn't developed on engineering studies of road position and road height and dimension and ditches and everything.
What I'm
None of that
saying,
was done.
where are those records? That's what I'm wanting to know.
From 1880?
No. Come on, Dale, I'm not that old.
Then what records would I have?
20 years.
20 years of what? Of chip seal?
No, 20 years of what the grade should be.
There isn't any. We don't survey the roads. The roads were gravel roads, and then they were chip sealed, and these roads in town.
But I've heard things on different
I have one for 7th Street because it was replaced. It has in North Street because they have curbs. The streets that have a curb in town have been developed. The rest of it was a gravel road and chip seal poured on it.
But then there's something in the ordinance, though, that says that the records are kept at City Hall, and that's why I want
Right
to
there.
know.
Sorry. All the maps are right
And
there.
I was told that didn't keep them here. So,
All the maps are right there. Then what you asked for is you asked for grades, and we don't keep grade records.
according to the guy that sat here, I heard that several comments about the grade of this and the grade of that and this street and that street, and over the years I have heard that for the last 10 years. That's why I'm asking.
Yep. Any road development on a road that's been developed is in there. Joel?
Nothing.
Hey. Doug?
We met, Steve came down and helped us get kind of ready for the next round of budget work, and he reminded me of one thing that made me shiver a little. When we do our budget, we do the average of the 2 previous years, kind of see a ballpark number, and then we take 95% of it. We did not do that on anything yet, which makes me wonder if we're going to be above what our parameters should be. So we'll have to watch that very carefully as we see.
95% of revenue, though. It was not of expenditures.
Yeah, because expenditures,
Which is expenditures, we went 10% over.
Yes.
We haven't touched revenue yet.
Yeah.
Well,
So
when
we
we
get that.
Yep, that's coming up.
Okay. Our Army Post Road, I mentioned something a month or so ago. We talked maybe it needs to be closed or level B. Have we done anything there, or have we thought any more about that?
Did the council make a decision, or?
I don't know that we voted on anything.
I don't think anything happened with it, so if somebody wants to bring it back for, agenda item, then we can make a decision on that.
Okay, I might get that written out. And, that's all I had, I believe.
Ken?
Nothing.
And the only thing I had, we've already discussed, which was the, sidewalks for the, and the TIF, or the, TEEP. That's all I got.
Sue, time for you.
You got everybody's talk now, so I think we need to move for adjournment.
Second.
Further discussion? Bill?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Barry? Ken? Doug?
Yeah.
We're adjourned.